Hey, welcome to the Who's Left podcast, a show about Indiana politics, history, and culture from the unapologetic perspective of the Hoosier Left. My name is Scott Aaron Rogers. I am live here in Bloomington, and we are awaiting President Trump's first joint address to Congress of his second term. And yeah, it's going to be a bad night. So, first of all, happy Mardi Gras to those of you who celebrate. Got my beads here tonight. And tomorrow is the beginning of Lent. Now, I'm not Catholic. I'm not even a Christian, but I am doing Lent this year, and I am going to attempt to go 40 days without alcohol. But tonight, I'm going to need a drink. So, cheers to y'all. All right. So, let's begin. There's a few things I want to look for here tonight, and we're going to start by looking at this list of 7 things to look for in this speech from Politico. Came out this afternoon. The theme of this speech is to be the renewal of the American dream, which would be funny if it weren't so sad. Now, we all know the working class has seen stagnant wage growth for the last 50 years. Meanwhile, the rich have gotten richer and richer and richer, correct? So, if we want to get back to a place, when America was great, right? When the American dream was actually achievable, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the 1950s and the 1960s. When you could raise a family on a single wage in this country. The American dream was built on high rates of unionization, right? At that point in our history, something like a third of all workers belonged to trade unions, whereas now we're something like 6% maybe, and I could be overestimating. Additionally, in the post-war era, from say the 40s into the 70s, before Reagan, we also had a very high marginal tax rate, right? 91%, I believe, on the top tax bracket there for a while until Kennedy, I want to say, when they cleaned up some loopholes, lowered the top marginal tax rate, but actually we're collecting more taxes. We don't need to get into all that. The point of the matter is, we used to tax our rich, right? A lot. And by doing that, that allowed our country to invest in people, in infrastructure, in education, in all of the things you actually need to build a robust middle class. And for the last 45 years now, we've stopped doing that. So, Trump's theme tonight, like I said, the return of the American dream. And from what I'm hearing of Trump, I'm not seeing any inkling to raise the top marginal tax rate back up into the 90s. In fact, they're trying to ram through a big $4.5 trillion tax cut, which will only drive a further wedge between the haves and have-nots. Additionally, we all know Trump is anti-union, except for, police unions. But hey, that's neither here nor there, right? So I'm interested to see how this guy, how the fat bastard in charge is going to...
Next.
Thinking of updating my kitchen?
Yeah? Yes.
This year, we are finally updating our kitchen. Doing subway tile and an ivory or eggshell.
Cream?
Maybe bone.
Don't get me
I
started
don't know
on
how,
quartz. Big
how
island.
Trump
You ever heard of a waterfall?
intends
For everyone who talks about doing that thing,
over there,
but
invigorate
never
the
does that
American
thing,
dream.
Little breakfast nook.
Chase has financial
See how
guidance.
you can start
by
saving to make this happen.
privatizing
Really?
the entire
At home
economy,
or in person.
by
Also check out a
destroying
Chase
the
Money
federal
Skills
government.
workshop.
That's guidance
and
from
by
Chase. Make more
lowering
of what's
taxes
yours.
on the rich.
With
I
fast
think
signs, see the
we
visual
all
possibility in your
likely
business. With
get-
signs and graphics, you can save anything. Transforming your space begins
Opposite
at
of
our
that.
place.
the,
Fast
the
signs. Make your statement.
nail in the coffin of the
If you have
American
bladder
dream.
leaks when you laugh or cough,
I think,
like we did,
there's a
there's a
it's
treatment
been
that can
hanging
help.
on by a thread
Bulkamid.
And
for
the
a long
relief
time.
can last for years. We're
And,
so glad we got Bulkamid.
boy.
Visit findrealrelief.com to find a physician near
Things
you.
are not looking promising right now. So that's the theme. Continuing on that Politico article, the list of
Safe
7
like
things.
repair, safe like
So
replace.
number
Nobody
one,
likes
how
a
is
cracked
Trump
windshield.
going to talk about high prices?
But at least you can
inflation?
go to safelight.com and schedule a fix in minutes. Go to
it turns
safelight.com and schedule a
our guy-
replacement today.
Safe like repair, safe like replace.
Ran on lowering prices, right? Ran on inflation.
Download the
blamed
Kayak app to
Biden
search and compare
economy
prices on
for-
flights,
for
cars, and
inflation,
hotels
when
from
we all
hundreds of
know
travel sites. Then
that
do
what
what
really
people do.
happened
Check sites Kayak already
was
checked. Play word game, play different
supply
word games.
chains,
Chortle, cool word.
and
Thought it would be
the
worth more.
pandemic,
Oh, yeah.
and
Back to the Kayak app for a
cascading
great deal.
effects from that affecting the broader economy for
Boom,
several
baby.
years. After that,
Things people love.
excuse me, bear with me, I'm trying to multitask here.
As the Trump administration forges ahead during these critical first 100 days, Rachel Maddow is on 5 nights a week.
More than ever, this is not a time to pretend this isn't happening.
So what we
The
see,
Rachel
anyway,
Maddow
back to the high
Show,
prices
weeknights at
and the
9
inflation.
on
Well,
MSNBC.
it's coming right
President
back.
Trump's first
Trump
100 days.
himself has
Watch.
even
I'm going to be here
admitted
5
as
days a
such.
week
There's
again.
going to be
Read and listen.
temporary
Staying up half the night
right?
reading executive orders.
For this defining time in the
says,
second Trump
sound from
presidency,
TV
stay with
overtaking the
MSNBC.
All right, trying to work on the settings. And I think, guys, please
Imagine
help
if
me
Donald
if you
Trump
are
had actually
in
campaigned
the,
this
chat.
past year.
Let
Imagine
me
if he had
know if
actually
we're,
run for office by telling the
having any
American people
difficulties.
that not even
Hear me
halfway through his
okay?
first 100
We
days,
really
he hoped
like all
to,
that.
by then,
I'm
have
looking
fired
for-
more than 4,000 wildland firefighters, park rangers, first responders, trail crews, and maintenance
there we
crews from
go.
the National Parks and the Forest Service. Vote
Just
for me.
like volume.
I'll make it so the national parks are filthy and broken down and can't be open to visitors. And I'll do it fast.
All right, gave myself a little
imagine
more
the
juice
campaign
while we're
rallies,
listening
right?
to
I plan
Rachel
to
over here.
indiscriminately fire
Anyway.
the engineers and maintenance
My
crews who are
intent
responsible for maintaining the
is to
flow of
have-
electricity for
Hey,
the
there we
national
go.
grid.
Them on
for
mute for now. Glad we're getting these things out of the way before we get started. Anyway, so back to high prices. Again, Trump ran on this. He ran on lowering prices. Now he's like, turns out maybe those might be harder to get down. And he's right. His tariffs certainly aren't going to help. Those just went into effect today, right? Tariffs on Canada, tariffs on Mexico, tariffs on China. How's that going to lower prices, Don? It's not. Egg prices, right? We heard so much about egg prices. That's all he wanted to talk about was fucking eggs for the whole goddamn campaign. And what do we get? Bird flu. Bird flu is driving egg prices through the roof. And his buddy Elon and the Doge are firing the people who are working on bird flu. they're firing USDA inspectors. It is not. That is not going to help. That is a major shock to the system. About Doge. Is Trump going to talk about it? Is he going to hype him up? Is he going to repeat the lies that we've been hearing constantly from Elon and his gang of incel warriors? They're posting all of these claims of waste, fraud, and abuse that they're supposed to be finding, right? And then with fact checks, media outlets, the ones that are still trying, what few are left, when they call him out on these things, the Doge boys have been going back and deleting some of these wild claims about all of this fraud that they're finding. So they're not finding waste, fraud, and abuse on it near the scale they claim. And when called on it, they're at least pulling it down and not continuing the lie, but their website that purports all this waste, fraud, and abuse keeps getting whittled down and down and down from their original massive claims. It's a shit show. Now, another thing that is that Trump will likely talk about tonight is his mass deportation program, which isn't going the way he envisioned anyway. It's not going nearly as badly as I think some of us feared, mostly due to their own incompetence, not anything that we've been doing. But to this point, Trump has actually deported fewer people on a per day basis, right, than Biden. Which, again, not exactly something you want to brag about. You know, we don't want to go, hey, look at Biden. He's doing all that. He did all that deportation. That's not a good thing. But for all of Trump's bluster about how this was the main point of his entire campaign, right? For all of that, they're not really doing so hot at it. Interesting to see what Trump will have to say. Oh, speaking of immigration, I believe we just saw on the screen his border czar, Tom Homan. There on the screen. What a piece of work. So, what else we got here? Yeah. Ukraine. So, Friday, we saw what happened in the Oval Office. And that was a goddamn disgrace. Who invited Matt Walsh to the fucking State of the Union? My God, get that guy out of here. Ugh, what a creepo. Sorry. Revulsion. Oh. Anyway, back to Ukraine. So we saw the disgrace in the Oval Office on Friday when Trump and his little goon J.D. Vance double-teamed, ganged up on a real president, Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky, and it was a disgraceful mob shakedown, is what we saw there, and there's no other way to say it. It was pre-planned, and I don't want to be one of these conspiracy people. I don't want to say Russia, 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 everything's Russia, but I don't think Donald Trump is working for Putin. But, would he do anything differently if he was? I mean, my God. So how is he going to frame this tonight? I'm sure his sycophant and oh, disgusting people. Lindsey Graham 2 weeks ago was on TV talking about how he would staunchly defend Ukraine, and then on the Sunday shows this past week he's already flipped around. I've seen jellyfish with stronger backbones than Lindsey Graham. Repugnant. What else is Trump going to have to say about foreign policy? Is he just going to go up there and rip his shirt off and show a Russian flag under there, or what? What does he say to Congress? I know there are a lot of Republicans out there who are still your typical old foreign policy, anti-Russia, anti-China hawks, right? These people are out there. Are they going to stand up to him? We haven't seen it yet. They certainly won't tonight. But what is Trump going to say to Congress? Well, how is he going to talk to them when they are all but ceremonial at this point? Are they comfortable with this? I mean, I'm sure some of these people have ambitions of their own, right? Oh, there's Lady G right now, Lindsey Graham. Okay, thank you, Laura W., for your comment. It says there's TV screen volume adverts louder than your voice. I've got them muted entirely currently. I'm going to try and give myself a little bit more volume here. All right, I am full all the way up on my end. Laura, hope that's better. Give me a little feedback if you can hear me okay. Now, a couple other things. Going back to this Politico ad, as we're coming up on about 10 minutes to the official start time of this thing on TV. There's always, thank you, D, for the comments. Excellent. And once this thing gets started, I will give us the volume, obviously, for the speech. And if there are any issues, if there's any balance, if you want me louder or the volume on the speech itself louder, just holler at me. I am trying to monitor the chat and the screen and my phone and several things all at once. So do please bear with me. Now, another thing, what doesn't Trump talk about tonight? What does he skip? Certainly, I don't think he's going to be bragging about his implementation of Project 2025. They're kind of sweeping that right under the rug, right? And this is the deliciously, brilliantly evil plan come to fruition, right? Because while Trump sucks all the oxygen out of the room and the media chases after every stupid thing he does, and my God, he does a lot of stupid shit, and the media falls for it every time, every single time. But while they're doing that, the people who are really running things, and not just Musk and Doge cutting here and there, but the dismantling of the CDC, right, with RFK, the erasure of trans people from mention in any government document or website. they are quietly, and this is guided by Russell Vogt, who is Trump's director of Office of Management and Budget. This is the guy behind Project 2025, who's working in the background, quietly, competently overseeing the dismantling and remaking of the federal government in a Christian nationalist image. Trump going to talk about that? I'm going to guess not. And then finally, the last thing I want to think about here tonight is, what are the Democrats going to do? Are they going to do anything besides symbolic, performative, hollow nothingness, right? So I know a bunch of the congresswomen are wearing pink. Okay, lovely gesture. You know, we see what they're trying to say. They're standing up for feminism. Well, good shot there. A nice big pink block in the crowd. Okay, great. But we need something more. We need something more substantive. I don't know if this is the place for what. I don't know. A couple years ago, what was that? 2018 maybe. Nancy Pelosi and the ripping of the speech. You know, cathartic for some people, I suppose, when he did it, but performative. He didn't actually do anything, right? It was the Kenta cloth and taking a knee in a different form, right? A performative gesture. I see your comments, Laura W. So are the Democrats in there tonight? Many are boycotting. That's a statement. That's a symbolic gesture, I suppose. The folks that are in there, are they going to do anything? Are they gonna Joe Wilson, you lied at him? Because I mean, if they do that every time he lies, it's going to be a long night. Are they going to do the howler monkey routine like Marge Green and Lauren Boebert did a couple years ago? How will it be received if they do? Does it prove anything? Will they walk out? Will they turn their back? And then going forward, like, I don't know, will they actually use what power they have in Congress to slow things down? Every roadblock they can put in front of these people, they need to use these things. Quorum calls, you know, whatever legal maneuvers and parliamentary chicanery Democrats can engage in to slow this thing down. Great, do it. Do something. Please, my God. All right, who are we introducing here? Oh, the Supreme Court. Everybody boo the Supreme Court. Boo. There's institutionalist John Roberts, right? Just gonna say something about the dismantling of the government he loves so much, right, John? Right? Right? Handmaid Amy Coney Barrett. Ridiculous. Anyway, back to the Dems. The person giving the official response tonight is new first-term Michigan Senator Alyssa Slotkin, and I hope we see some real tough words out of her, but Slotkin is very much a centrist. And I don't know if you guys saw this thing. Adam Wren reported for Politico over the weekend about this big kind of centrist Democrat conclave that they held recently, talking about all the ways that they want to fight back against Republicans. And it turns out it's just like going further to the right. So let's hope we don't hear that out of Alyssa Slotkin tonight, but I do worry that that's what we're going to get. We are now coming up on 9 o'clock. I got about 2 minutes till here. When at 9, I am going to switch over and give us the audio from our feed here, and hopefully YouTube doesn't crack down on us for sharing MSNBC. Shh. Can you believe that C-SPAN does not come with my cable package? That is a crying shame right there. C-SPAN, great network, great service. Wonder how long that's going to exist while we're dismantling the federal government. I do want to remind all you out there, if you haven't yet, please like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and, share with your friends. We rely on you and your support to keep this project going. I would really love to be doing more like this for you, spending time up at the State House, harassing Mike Braun and Micah Beckwith and company. Would love to be able to get up there more frequently, but alas, Bill's call, right? So we've been slinging drywall mud for the last week, and boy, are our arms tired. So if you can help out Who's Left with a paid subscription, especially, we do love those over at whosleft.us. Subscribe there. Give us a hand. It is 9 o'clock. We're gonna flip on over. Oh, hi Regina. Hi Dee. Love you both in the comments there. I'm going to go ahead and give us some volume, and that gives us a couple minutes before this thing really starts to kind of play with our levels. I'm going to give us about...
Done. And they thought when Donald Trump wins, it's going to be a mergers and acquisitions bonanza. It hasn't been, because businesses are crippled. They're
there, and double juice for me. Those who are listening, tell me how our sound balance is if you need me to tweak something. Let's do it now before old shitbag starts spewing whatever he's doing. Additionally, we may have a special guest joining us here in about maybe 10-15 minutes. I don't want to, spill the beans yet, but
who's studying the economy that Orban ushered in? Who's studying the oligarchs in Russia? And we never really got very far.
Anyway,
understanding
don't want to confirm before we're positive.
That they were in more denial than anybody else. I think what's amazing, and I think what the little shards of hope are that Sean Hannity can't hide from his own listeners whose daughter had pediatric cancer and is desperate for NIH.
MSNBC. They have to have Michael Steele up there because he's the only black guy left on the network.
Profit play, right?
Really
called into his show with a
disappointed isn't a strong enough word to begin to talk about my feelings about that network right now. Not that I watch a lot of cable news as it is, but when I do, I go there, and I really liked Joy Reid. She was one of the few people on that network who really went, out on a
across
limb
the country.
and
the
said her
truth
piece, and
will
that's
get
probably
out.
why
I don't
she
think anyone
doesn't
should
have
hold their breath
a
and wait
job
for
right now.
anyone in
Nancy,
business to save us,
please go
because
spend
a lot
time
of
with your
people that knew better,
grandchildren.
They knew better. I remember when you and
Retire.
would come and explain. They all know better. They know that autocracies don't have thriving economies. No one's coming to save anyone. But what Trump has done in 6 weeks is so bad that Sean Hannity's listeners are calling and asking him to help.
It's worse than they thought it would be, right? Even 8 weeks ago, they thought he's transactional. I go down to Mar-a-Lago. I buy into the Trump meme coin. I book a big event at one of his resorts.
Yeah, sorry about the problems you're having over there. Laura seems to be having some problems in the chat. Everything appears to be working on the YouTube, at least on my end. But if if you're having trouble there, you can also, we are on Facebook Live at Who's Left, and also on Twitch at ScottRaj78. If you might have better luck there. Looks like Facebook's working great, though. We got a few people there who are chatting with us, and apparently everything is turning out okay.
But that everybody should know it. They've made it clear. They're not embarrassed about that reporting today, that for $5 million you can have a one-on-one dinner with Donald Trump. They're not embarrassed about the reporting.
Well, there's Melania. Where's Anchor Baby Barron?
To somebody who could talk to Elon Musk.
Hey, Laura, glad we got that figured out.
They want it to be known that this is the personalization of power. It's a monarchical type system.
Actually
and
might
that they
have
want to
an
know that you better cater to them
extra
personally,
guest.
Your physical proximity to the leader will determine whether or not you're served by this government. It's for them. It's a feature. It's not a bug.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse for business unless you think that the personalization of power will be directed toward your ends.
And the reality of it is, to that point, that personalization is also transactional. So there is the $5 million play, the $1 million play, and you think that you somehow are getting closer to the principal here, Trump, but you're really not, because at any point
he'll turn.
And that's how he keeps them off kilter. That's how he keeps them guessing and wanting to come back for another transaction.
The other piece that is very similar to autocratic societies is the suppression of all information and the ability of any information.
Oh, and here comes Trump's cabinet. Just a parade of awful people. My God.
The Russian media outlet somehow got in. We don't know how they got in.
Each one less qualified than the last person to walk in.
Asked a question to
I suppose that means like Kash Patel's going to walk in last. Maybe Pete Hegseth. Who's the? Oh, there's Pete. Who's the least competent of Trump's cabinet members? Let us hear you in the comments. Ooh, forgot about Linda McMahon.
Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, with Putin. They have a bevy of people who are told by the Kremlin what to report, and that is a model for them.
Do you remember in the first Trump term we had Donald Trump sort of inexplicably brought Lavrov and the Russian ambassador into the Oval Office? One of the intelligence concerns about that meeting is that they also brought with them somebody from TASS. They brought with them into the Oval Office.
That was the photo.
That's how we got the photo. We got the photo from Russian state media.
Oh, there's Kristi Noem. Everybody hide your dogs.
Manages to get the keys to the White House. The idea that the spectacle of them berating Volodymyr Zelensky the way that Vance and Trump did was a sort of made-for-TV moment wasn't the length of it. The length of it was made for Russian TV. Kremlin-directed state Russian media was there, and the White House said they didn't know how as soon as that thing was over. And if that's not going to put a sort of shiver down your spine as to who's actually calling the shots at the top of the U.S. government, I don't know what will.
Well, if you're wondering why people in the administration who know better aren't pushing back, I learned in the last few days that someone in this administration
got my Mardi Gras beads tonight.
Meeting, just voiced,
if we get 5 or more paid subscribers during the live stream tonight, I will show my boobs. I know that's what everybody wants to see.
In this administration who fought tooth and nail to get those cabinet and other positions. We all watched the transition where they were battling their way down at Mar-a-Lago. None of them are going to push back against the
also,
president.
before we get started here, I want to shill for my friends over at Project Next, ProjectNextIndiana.com. Also find them on Facebook and YouTube. Sarah Blessing, Tim Peck, Corinne
It's
Strait,
now,
lovely people,
the
great people,
arbiter,
putting out a lot of
the
good
guy who's
online
got to
content,
do the
trying to
execution,
reach our friends
against
and neighbors
Ukraine and
where they
Zelensky.
are.
And who's already had to do it
Have
before
those
now.
hard
Exactly.
conversations
And
with
Trump
people,
gets a double pleasure out of
because
that, knowing that
the
someone
way we
who
get
was
out
once
of this
his
thing is
adversary is
one
now doing
person,
his
one
bidding,
conversation at a
and
time.
ostensibly having his fingerprints a little bit further removed from it, in his view. So for him, Trump is always looking for the win. He's always looking how he can position the chess pieces on the board so that they move the way he wants them to move. And if he doesn't want his fingerprints, they don't have to be. Marco Rubio will do it.
But it's one word. I don't think it's chess. I think it's dominance. I think it's performative
but isn't chess about dominance, though?
Well, chess is also about thinking ahead. I'm not sure that the whole tariffs thing is about thinking ahead.
But in Marco Rubio's example, he doesn't just have Donald Trump over his shoulder.
These things
He has
never
Steve
start on
Witkoff.
time, do they?
And
So much
that's a
pomp.
name
We have to
people might not
march
know. That is who Donald
all
Trump
of
has
Washington
appointed as the
in
special envoy.
one at a time.
And this is a long-time friend of Donald Trump for over 40 years, a massive real estate investor who just a year ago sold a $600 million property to the Qataris. People call him the shadow Secretary of State.
He had a 3.5-hour one-on-one meeting with Vladimir Putin. Correct.
Or actual Secretary of State Marco Rubio has been completely emasculated 6 weeks into this thing. Did you guys see him like just
Putin and Russia have to give up anything.
sink into the couch
on
Friday?
I mean, who owns who?
And yet, he knew, right? He knew it was a shit show. He knew it was wrong, and he still went out there this weekend and bent the knee and kissed the ass all over the cable shows and all over national TV.
Former colleagues, you got a little bit of color about what's going on tonight in Washington. What have you been able to find out?
Yeah, what's interesting, Rachel, in talking to my friends that are United States senators on the Democratic side, I remember Bush's address in 2007, and I remember us not being excited about George Bush, but there was never even a consideration of whether or not we would go. And then, of course, Donald Trump in 2017. There might have been a few people who quietly skipped out, but there never was an argument about whether or not to even show up. The disgust with this president and what he has done and how he has done it is so intense among Democratic senators that there is actually disagreements among them as to whether or not they should even be in the same room with him. So it is a completely different atmosphere. We will see if it's still the stand-up, sit-down and Democrats trying to decide whether to stand up or not. I predict they won't. I predict there'll be no applause from the Democratic side at all.
Claire, in terms of the Democratic decision-making here, Lawrence had an interview with Senator Chris Murphy just a few moments ago where he said that he thinks that if things keep going the way they are, that the countdown to us not having a democracy anymore is a 6-month countdown, that what happens in the next 6 months will determine the form of government in the United States from here on out, and that Democrats need to do everything all at once right now, pulling out all the stops. And I know that that's not the consensus view among Democrats, but Senator Murphy is being articulate about this, and he is pressing that case in social media and with protesters and on television news and everywhere that he can. I just wonder what your sense is as to whether or not that message resonates widely among the electeds.
I think most people who are democratically elected in this country, in the Democratic Party, believe it is time to sound the alarm and get people motivated to get active, to reach out, to organize, to start the kind of grassroots movement that we've seen in this country several times over the last several decades. I think Chris is right about that. I also kind of agree with Amy, who said on our network earlier today, she believes the courts will hold. I think they will. Now, the big question will come when the courts hold and say, no, you can't do away with the First Amendment on college campuses, or no, you can't willy-nilly fire people for no reason and shut down Social Security offices without Congress approving. When that all happens, the question is, what will the Trump administration do?
They're going to do it anyway.
Dictate whether or not we have disorder, or whether or not
we have a special guest
with a good, healthy election in the midterms.
before this thing gets kicked off, I want to invite to the stream the lovely Blythe Potter.
Please let us know. You have carte blanche to interrupt us at any time.
You driving?
I'm in my car. I will be driving. Did they just now start?
JD Vance and House
They've
Speaker
not
Mike
even
Johnson
started
there.
yet.
Oh
You know,
Donald Trump's left and right
no, they're
shoulders
still
over
doing the
course of his
pomp and
remarks
circumstance, and
tonight.
then
see them speaking right at the
then you
beginning,
know,
and sort of Mike Johnson
fat fuck's got to waddle down the aisle and
and
beach himself up on the dais there. And that, you know, that's going to take a few minutes. He's got to shake he's got to get slime every hand on the way down there.
Mike Johnson was something along the lines
Gross
of,
individual.
I think it's a good speech.
Oh, we lost Blythe. I'm gonna send her off. Bring her back in when she's back.
If it is 90 minutes, that would make it the longest State of the Union address in U.S. history. As we mentioned earlier, of the 6th longest speeches of this kind.
In the comments, D. Owens says that Doug Collins, the VA secretary, is the designated survivor tonight.
Time goes on, so this could be a long one. Let's watch.
Oh, all right. Oh, here we go.
The President of the United States.
President Trump walking in with members of the escort committee, which is members of the legislative branch. We previously saw the cabinet come in. There is some unusual seating decisions. The FBI director, Kash Patel, seems
oranger than usual tonight.
At least one spouse of a Supreme Court justice.
Why? They don't have any audio for you.
An unkosher decision, given the role of the FBI in our government, but there you have it. You see Republicans, mostly House members, some Democrats as well, on the aisle there. Republicans taking this moment to lay hands on the president. See Usha Vance there, Vice President Vance's wife.
Ugh.
Let's watch some of this, see if we can hear anything anybody's saying.
All right. Looks like we're going to need to give Blythe a few minutes before she comes back. Hopefully, Donald can roll himself down the aisle and you know, prop himself up there on the dais. And Blythe will be back with us shortly. Oh, there's pathetic sycophant and anti-trans bigot Nancy Mace. Oh, boy, that was a high five. I thought we had our first Sig Heil of the night. Anybody want to take over-unders? Are we going to see any, you know, Roman salutes tonight? I mean, we're damn near full fascist. That's just the icing on the cake, right?
Donald Trump
Bottoms up,
approaches
folks.
the dais. I will tell you that the White House has released some excerpts of the speech. From what we can see, it looks like Trump is going to take a whole bunch of swings at his predecessor, Joe Biden. Also, the trademark shout out to radical left lunatics.
Rachel, we wish you were half the radical left lunatic you claim to be.
They're only good for so much. This is a president who loves his ad-libbing, so that means we're all going to find out together what he plans to say. Perhaps he will surprise himself, even. Who knows? You see the president there speaking with retired Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy. I had said that if we were going to get a retired Supreme Court Justice tonight, we were going to get Stephen Breyer. I was wrong. We got a different spare.
It's so interesting to see Anthony Kennedy there. He gave up a Supreme Court seat so Donald Trump could fill it.
With Brett Kavanaugh.
And people have wondered just
Yes, there's some shady business with Deutsche Bank, apparently, with Anthony Kennedy and his kid. And...
Trump. This is pretty surprising to see him there.
Yeah.
Roberts is there tonight. Elena Kagan is there. Brett Kavanaugh, the aforementioned Brett Kavanaugh. Amy Coney Barrett. I did not see Justice Alito, Justice Thomas, Justice Sotomayor, Justice Jackson. Tonight, behind the president will be Vice President J.D. Vance and House Speaker Mike Johnson. This will be Donald Trump's 5th address to Congress. It'll be the first time since 2018 that 2 Republicans have been on that dais behind him. That is thanks to Republicans' very, 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 very slender 3-vote majority in the House.
That's very, very, very tiny little Johnson.
But here he is, President Trump at the podium. Here we go with his presidential address to a joint session of Congress.
All right, we're doing shots every time he lies. No, I don't encourage this. Oh, there was my Congresswoman, Erin Houchin. Okay, she does exist. We haven't seen her around here, but she does exist.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a great honor. Thank you very much. Speaker Johnson, Vice President Vance, the First Lady of the United States.
Oh, hey, there's now former Monroe County Democratic Party Chair David Henry in the chat, calling our Congresswoman Erin Houchin.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant.
And to my fellow citizens, America is back.
Back to black.
Six weeks ago, I stood beneath the dome of this Capitol and proclaimed the dawn of the golden age of America. From that moment on, it has been nothing but swift and unrelenting action to usher in the greatest and most successful era in the history of our country. We have accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years, and we are just getting
he's certainly accomplished a lot of things, none of them good. Be strong, D. We've seen worse. Not in that office, but
I return to this chamber tonight to report that America's momentum is back, our spirit is back, our pride is back, our confidence is back, and the American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before.
no.
The American dream is unstoppable, and our country is on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which the world has never witnessed and perhaps will never witness again. There's never been anything like it.
It is true that the world may never witness anything like this again, because we may not survive
November 5th was a mandate like has not been seen in many decades. We won all 7 swing states.
Hey, coming at us from the 219. Brandon Dothinger is in the house.
What's up, Scott? Nobody I would rather be watching the college democracy from you.
Brandon, if we gotta suffer through this, I'm glad I got you here with me, man.
We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country.
Woo! We're gonna start it out feisty. I like it.
Yeah. They should just keep doing this for the next hour, so he doesn't say a word. I can live with that. Just pretend we're at a hockey game. USA, USA. Oh, God, we're not at a hockey game.
2,700 to 525 on a map that reads almost completely red for Republican. Now, for the first time in modern history,
all that land
more
voted a
Americans
lot.
believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. In fact, it's an astonishing record, 27-point swing, the most ever. Likewise, small business optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded.
And then this next month is going to see the largest drop.
So did JD just say to kick somebody out?
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning.
I believe that's a good rep out of it.
Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session.
Yes, sir. That's Representative Al Green.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Al Green is a bad motherfucker. I'd like to see him walk that cane up to the dais.
Take your seat, sir.
Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton style.
Oh, God. Who's the guy that whooped the other dude with the cane in like the 1860s?
And concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order.
They are now removing Al Green from the House, our elected representative.
No. That's good. That's fine. Next man up. Next man up. All night. Next man up. Do it. So much decorum there in response.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House. Mr. President, you continue.
Thank you. Over the past 6
All right, next man up.
weeks, I have signed nearly 100 executive orders and taken more than 400 executive actions, a record to restore common sense, safety, optimism, and wealth all across our wonderful land.
Wealth all
the
across
people
your
elected me to
cabinet.
do the job, and I'm doing it. In fact, it has been stated by many.
All right, come on.
That the first
Where's Maxine
month
Waters?
of our presidency, it's our presidency, is the most successful in the history of our nation. By many. And what makes it even more impressive
there we
is
go.
that
Brought some signage.
you know who number 2 is? George Washington. How about that? How about that? I don't know about that list, but we'll take it. Within hours of taking the oath of office, I declared a national emergency on our southern border, and I deployed the U.S. military and Border Patrol to repel the invasion of our country. And what a job they've done. As a result, illegal border crossings last month were by far the lowest ever recorded, ever.
Yes. Because your guys didn't count them all. I do not trust a single statistic that comes out of this government anymore.
Same. It's really upsetting. We're in the post-back
And they chose not to come. Much easier that way. In comparison, under Joe Biden,
God, if only your father had taken the same
in
advice,
American
man.
history, there were hundreds of thousands of illegal crossings a month, and virtually all of them, including murderers, drug dealers, gang members, and people from mental institutions and insane asylums, were released into our country.
He doesn't know the difference between an asylum and seeking asylum.
This is my fifth such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do.
You can resign.
Resign, yeah, no, we go with that.
You fucking drop dead where you're standing.
Wipe out entire nations or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here. It's very sad.
5 too many.
And it just shouldn't be this way. So Democrats sitting before me, for just this one night, why not join us in celebrating so many incredible wins for America? For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
Come on, Nancy. Why don't you get kicked out? Fucking do something. You're good at performative gestures. Come on. Fuck.
Every day my administration is fighting to deliver the change America needs to bring a future that America deserves, and we're doing it. This is a time for big dreams and bold action. Upon taking office, I imposed an immediate freeze on all federal hiring, a freeze on all new federal regulations, and a freeze on all foreign aid.
Freeze the economy. We want to freeze the economy.
They're there. They're gonna crash the goddamn thing, and they're gonna scoop up the remnants on the cheap.
I withdrew from the unfair Paris Climate Accord, which was costing us trillions of dollars. That other
Gotta have a
countries
serious conversation about what the hell to do with
Fucking
the climate.
from the corrupt World Health Organization.
Bobby Kennedy shot.
And I also withdrew
Bobby Kennedy
from
shot.
the anti-American UN Human Rights Council.
Jeez. Un-American human rights. Fuck.
Hey, he said something honest.
We ended all of Biden's
I mean, yeah, kind of,
restrictions that
yeah.
were making our country far less safe and totally unaffordable. And importantly, we ended the last administration's insane electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto workers and companies from economic disruption.
There was never a mandate.
To unshackle our economy, I have directed that for every one new regulation, 10 old regulations must be eliminated.
It's completely arbitrary.
Successful first day.
I don't know, this one seemed pretty important. No, I said 10. Gotta be 10.
One's making a great argument for election by
We set
partition.
records
Just
on
pull it from my
ending
hat.
unnecessary rules and regulations like no other president had done before. We ordered all federal workers to return to the office. They will either show up for work in person or be removed from their job.
Trying to share this around, Scott, so that we can take back the media because we need to.
More hat than brain in that
As an
head.
example, a sitting president is allowed to viciously prosecute his political opponent, like me. How did that work out? Not too good. Not too good. And I have stopped all government censorship and brought back free speech in America. It's back.
Never went anywhere.
And 2 days ago, I signed an order making English the official language of the United States of America.
What are we?
Real English, not that stuff they speak in Britain.
I renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America.
Big change.
Dumb shit. Oh my
God. It doesn't matter for the American people.
And likewise,
I'm going to
I renamed for a great president, William McKinley, Mount McKinley again.
May you share his fate, good sir.
Beautiful Alaska. We love Alaska. We've ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies all across the entire federal government and indeed the private sector and our military. And our country will be woke no longer.
Yeah.
Yep. No, we're just going to be stupid.
We believe that whether you are a doctor, an accountant, a lawyer, or an air traffic controller, you should be hired and promoted based on skill and competence, not race or gender. Very important.
More mediocre white men.
Yeah, we know what you're saying, Don.
You should be hired based on merit. And the Supreme Court, in a brave and very powerful decision, has allowed us to do so. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The judges hate when you talk about them. They're like, God.
Remove the poison of critical race theory from our public schools, and I signed an order making it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
You can write it in the law all you want, but that doesn't make it so.
Not biologically true, but completely care about science.
You know there are more intersex people than there are redheads in the world?
To ban men from playing in women's sports.
People are so dumb they think Joanna Man was a documentary.
Ago, Peyton McNabb was an all-star high school athlete, one of the best, preparing for a future in college sports.
Air Trump always
When
out of it,
girls'
either
volleyball
high
match
on
was
coke
invaded
or
by a male.
coming down from coke.
He smashed the ball so hard in Peyton's face, causing traumatic brain injury, partially paralyzing her right side, and ending her athletic career. It was a shot like she's never seen before. She's never seen anything like it. Peyton is here tonight in the gallery, and Peyton, from now on, schools will kick the men off the girls' team, or they will lose.
Mike Johnson,
federal
but this is just like some of the best parts. Because he's like,
and here's another white woman. A black man looked at her on the street.
Mike Johnson. capable of critical reading, so he's just back there. He's like, "Yep, I'm a Stooge." He's a Stooge.
I believe him on the permanent brain damage, though.
And if you really want to see numbers, just take a look at what happened in the women's boxing, weightlifting, track and field, swimming, or cycling, where a male recently finished a long-distance race 5 hours and 14 minutes ahead of a woman for a new record by 5 hours. Broke the record by 5 hours. It's demeaning for women, and it's very bad for our country. We're not going to put up with it any longer.
National issues, Scott. This is the state of our union. Have you no respect? Big national issues.
What I have just described is only a small fraction of the common sense revolution that is now, because of us, sweeping the entire world. Common sense has become a common theme, and we will never go back. Never. Never going to let that happen. Among my very highest priorities is to rescue our economy and get dramatic and immediate relief to working families. As you know, we inherited from the last administration an economic catastrophe.
I thought he was going to say for the stock market, because it's gone down thousands of points. We're going to get an immediate relief by repealing our own
pushed up grocery costs and drove the necessities of life out of reach for millions and millions of Americans.
And you're making it worse.
We suffered the worst inflation in 48 years, but perhaps even in the history of our country. They're not sure. As president, I'm fighting every day to reverse this damage and
this economic data,
affordable again.
You know, they put it in front of me. It's got rows, it's got numbers, it's got dollar signs. It's got
the biggest numbers. They go up. It says infinity.
Who's willing to say?
Joe Biden especially let the price of eggs get out of control. The egg price is out of control, and we're working hard to get it back down. Secretary, do a good job on that.
They're more expensive now than they have
ever
been.
Dummy. Do a good job.
You don't even know what to do.
A major focus of our fight to defeat inflation is rapidly reducing
Another couple
the cost
people just
of
got
energy.
kicked out there. I don't know
The
what that was
previous
all
administration
about.
cut the number of new oil and gas leases by
MSNBC did a very poor job
95%,
covering our
slowed
protesters.
pipeline
So I can only
construction to a
imagine they were
halt,
not
and
viewed on
closed
Fox.
more than 100 power plants. We are opening up many of those power plants right now.
Yeah. For data centers. Not for people, for data centers. For fucking crypto.
And frankly,
We're opening up 3 Mile Island for the Trump coin.
Like it. That's
We
why
need
on
stock
my first
coin.
day in office, I declared a national energy emergency.
There is an energy emergency, and so he's going to sign the Green New Deal.
Liquid gold under our feet than any nation on earth, and by far. And now I fully authorize the most talented team ever assembled to go and get it. It's called Drill, Baby, Drill.
Oh, that's not the Green New Deal. That is not the Green New Deal.
The Black New Deal. Black for oil, not for people.
My administration is also working on a gigantic natural gas pipeline in Alaska, among the largest in the world, where Japan, South Korea, and other nations want to be our partner with investments of trillions
Biggest source of
dollars
natural
each.
gases in
There's
the
never
world.
been anything
Right
like
there,
that.
center screen.
It will be truly spectacular. It's all set to go. The permitting is gotten. And later this week, I will
Well, you know,
also
Trump
take
likes to lay
historic
pipe
action
even
to
when we don't.
dramatically expand
So he's
production
gonna lay that
of
pipe.
critical minerals and rare earths here in the USA. To further combat inflation, we will not only be reducing the cost of energy, but will be ending the flagrant waste of taxpayer dollars.
On your golf outings?
And to that end, I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency. GOGE. Perhaps you've heard of it.
This is the dumbest shit.
Oh, God, somebody just punch him in the dick already.
Which is headed by Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight.
As is the presidency.
Thank you, Elon. He's working very hard. He didn't need this. He didn't need this.
Oh, no.
Thank you very
He needed
much.
this.
We appreciate it. Everybody here, even this side,
His ego
appreciates
needs
I
it
believe.
so bad.
Greedy people never run out of things.
Why are we still letting him talk, by the way?
Just
Can
listen to
somebody,
some
like,
of the
jump up into Al
appalling
Green's
waste
shoes here?
We have already identified $22 billion from HHS to provide free housing and cars for illegal aliens. $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is. $8 million to promote LGBTQI+.
That motherfucker knows sedentary better than anybody.
In the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. $60 million
there's no
for indigenous
Republican.
peoples and Afro-Colombian empowerment in Central America. $60 million. $8 million for making mice transgender. This is real.
I love when they
$32
pick
million
these
for
things and they have
left-wing
no idea what the
propaganda
actual
operation
purpose
in
behind a whole lot of
Moldova.
this research is.
$10 million for male circumcision in Mozambique. $20 million for the
That's probably a
Arab
great
Sesame
program.
Street.
And he's like,
In the
he's
Middle
rattling
East,
off like
it's a
things in the
program.
millions,
$20
and I know
million
these
for a
sound like
program.
big numbers to us normal
$1.9
people, but
billion
millions for the
to
United States government
recently
is a
created
drop in the bucket.
Decarbonization of Homes Committee, headed up, and we know she's involved. Just at the last moment, the money was passed over by a woman named Stacey Abrams. Have you ever heard of her? A $3.5 million consulting contract for lavish fish monitoring. $1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia. $14 million for social cohesion in Mali. $59 million for illegal alien hotel rooms in New York City. He's a real estate developer. He's done very well. $250,000 to increase vegan local climate action innovation in Zambia. $42 million for social and behavior change in Uganda. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $47 million.
These are all
for
good things to
improving
spend money
learning
on.
outcomes in Asia. Asia's doing very well with learning. You know what we're doing. Should use it ourselves.
Wow.
$101
Wow.
million
Did he just
DEI
do the,
contracts at
the Asians are good at math?
of education.
All of them.
Most ever paid.
He hit us with the Asian are good at math, and he insulted all of America, mostly those red states that voted
And they're
for him.
far
I like
worse,
that.
but I didn't think it was appropriate
He
to
did
talk
super
about
there.
them. They're so bad. Many more have been found out and exposed and swiftly terminated by a group of very intelligent, mostly young people, headed up by Elon, and we appreciate it. We found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud.
Well,
But,
put on
oh,
my tin hat
they
here.
have
One of
They have
these, yeah, one of those guys that works for Elon, I've read his project, and he got hired because of his work on AI engineering of elections and poll
To
machines.
fight inflation and other things. Taking back a lot of that money. We got it just in time. This is just the beginning. The Government Accountability Office, a federal government office, has estimated annual fraud of over $500 billion in our nation, and we are working very hard to stop it. We're going to. We're also identifying shocking levels of incompetence and probable fraud in the Social Security program for our seniors.
Oh, here he goes. Yeah.
And that our seniors and people that we love rely on.
I was looking to get my
They think
reward.
the entire program is fraudulent.
4.7 million Social Security members from people.
I see 3 instances of shocking incompetence right in front of me. Where can I report that to?
Seriously. I will say JD does a very good job putting on his eyeliner. He's very competent at that.
From ages 110 to 119. I don't know any of them. I know some people that are rather elderly, but not quite that elderly. 3.47
Also lies. None of these people were receiving checks.
From ages 120 to 129. 3.9
None of them were receiving checks.
From ages 130 to 139. 3.5 million.
Somebody hit him with the dozer lies.
From ages 140 to 149. And money is being paid to many of them. And we're searching right now. In fact, Pam, good luck.
Lies.
Good luck. You're going to find it. But a lot of money is paid out to people because it just keeps getting paid and nobody does. And it really hurts Social Security and hurts our country. 1.3 million people from ages 150 to 159 and over 130,000 people, according to the
It just means
Security databases,
their records were in the database. It doesn't mean they were being issued checks. Like everybody who's ever had a Social Security number ever is in this thing. They are dumb. Gross. What a disgusting bunch of people. My God.
Including, to finish, 1,039 people between the ages of 220 and 229. One person between the age of 240 and 249. And one person is listed at 360 years of age.
Data entry errors, dude. So I do software, as you know, and this is a fucking COBOL. He's literally calling out, and I'm sure Elon gave him this.
But we're going to find out when
the max, if you're coding in COBOL, which is like an antiquated language, is 150.
Yeah, you got to worry about so many of these old systems are written in COBOL, and these kids these days, they don't know how to write in COBOL.
In the pockets of American families.
They're going to break something.
You already know that there's going to be some ham-handed transfer over and millions of data. The data that's going to be lost.
And in the near future, I want to do what has not been done in 24 years. Balance the federal budget. We're going to balance it.
It's not a good idea. I encourage everybody within earshot, read The Deficit Myth by Stephanie Kelton. It is meaningless. The deficit is meaningless. And balancing it is bad for the economy. Like, why do you think Bush started off his
With that goal in mind, we have
Bush
developed
W
in
started
great
off his term in a
detail
recession
what we are calling the
because he
gold
inherited a
card,
balanced budget.
which goes on
My
sale
man, as
very,
a
very
fellow
soon.
modern monetary
For $5
theorist, I
million,
appreciate that. I'm also
we will allow the most
knowing of that.
successful job-creating people from all over the world to buy a path to U.S. citizenship. It's like the green card, but better and more sophisticated. And these people will have to pay tax in our country. They won't have to pay tax from where they came. The money that they've made.
Cartel drug lords have the opportunity to do the funniest
They'll also be taking
twist
people out of
ever
colleges and
with
paying for
this
them
offer.
so that we can keep them.
This is just
in our
like, you know,
country instead
that
of
he can
having them
import all his
being
Russian
forced
mob
out.
buddies into the country to
Number
hang
one
out
at
at
the top school
Mar-a-Lago
as
with
an
him now.
example, being forced out and
5 million,
not
easy,
being
piece of
allowed to
cake.
stay and create tremendous numbers of jobs and great success for a company out there. So while we take out the criminals, killers, traffickers, and child predators who are allowed to enter our country under the open border policy of
Child
these
predator
people, the
standing on
Democrats, the
stage,
Biden
right
administration, the open border insane policies that you've allowed to destroy our country. We will now bring in brilliant, hardworking, job-creating people. They're going to pay a lot of money, and we're going to reduce our debt with that money.
Who's going to work for them, asshole? Come on, Democrats. We're way overdue to get somebody kicked out. Come on, let's do this.
Have given us a mandate for bold and profound change. For nearly 100 years, the federal
bold and profane
bureaucracy
change
has grown until it has crushed our freedoms, ballooned our deficits, and held back America's potential in every possible way. The nation founded by pioneers and risk takers now drowns
Fun
under
fact,
millions
Trump's
and
budget that he
millions
just
of
passed
pages
is one
of
of the most fiscally
regulations
unsound
and
budgets
debt.
ever passed
That
by
should
any
take 10
world
days to
government,
get,
not
instead
just in
take
American
10 years,
history.
15
It is
years,
one
and
of the
even
most
20 years before
unbalanced
you
budgets
reject it.
that has ever made it
Meanwhile,
to
we
a
have
governing
hundreds of
body.
thousands
Look
of
that
federal
up. Maybe
workers
it's
who have
next.
not been showing up to work. My administration will reclaim power from this unaccountable bureaucracy, and we will restore true democracy to America again.
These words that you use, I don't think they mean what you think they mean.
We're going with an originalist concept of democracy, Scott. You know, white land, well, only white landowners is how we started out. So, you know.
Because we are
Going back.
draining the swamp. It's very simple. And the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
And so here's the unelected bureaucrat.
So now we are ruled by unelected bureaucrat Elon Musk. Yes, just one.
And the next phase of our plan to deliver the greatest economy in history is for this Congress to pass tax cuts for everybody. They're in there. They're waiting for you to vote. And I'm sure that the people on my right, I don't mean the Republican right, but my right here, I'm sure you're going to vote for those tax cuts, because otherwise I don't believe the people will ever vote you into office. So I'm doing you a big favor by telling you that. But I know this group is going to be voting for the tax.
You can't have the tax cut and the balanced budget. You can't. You just can't.
Well,
I mean, I guess you could if you don't spend money on anything else.
Little fan cards are the best to do, like with the Jackson County Fair,
Success
racing
in
a
our
4-H
first term with it. A very big part of our plan. We're seeking permanent income tax cuts all across the board. And to get urgently needed relief to Americans hit especially hard by inflation, I'm calling for no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our great seniors.
I'm in for the last one. You know where that came from? Fucking Reagan.
He's not going to have any tax on Social Security benefits because there's going to be no Social Security benefits. So it's technically true. The best time to correct.
And I also want to make interest payments on car loans tax deductible, but only if the car is made in America.
So, Hondas, Toyotas.
And by the way, we're going to have growth in the auto industry like nobody's ever seen. Plants are opening up all over the place. Deals are being made. Never seen. That's a combination of the election win and tariffs. It's a beautiful word, isn't it? That, along with our other...
Mike Johnson rolls his eyes because he knows.
Auto industry to absolutely boom. It's going to boom. Spoke to the majors today.
He's sitting there thinking these tariffs are going to be the end of my political.
They're so excited. In fact, already numerous car companies have announced that
He
they
looks
will
like
be
the
building massive automobile
dentist
plants
elf
in
from the
America.
Rudolph
Just announcing
show
a new
when you were a
plant in
kid.
Indiana,
You remember that one?
One of the largest anywhere in the world. And this has taken place since our great victory on November 5th, a date which will hopefully go down as one of the most important in the history of our country.
It will, actually, no, that is correct, it will.
In addition, as part of our tax
The last
cuts,
Democratic
we want
election
to
that
cut
we have.
taxes
Yeah,
on
no, that seems
domestic
good.
production and all manufacturing. And just as we did before, we will provide 100% expensing. It will be retroactive to January 20th, 2025. And it was one of the main reasons why our tax cuts were so successful in our first term, giving us the most successful economy in the history of our country, first term. We had a great first term. If you don't make your product in America, however, under the Trump administration, you will pay a tariff, and in some cases, a rather large one. Other countries have used tariffs against us for decades, and now it's our turn to start using them against those other countries. On average, the European Union,
1, 2, 3,
China,
4, I
Brazil,
declare a trade
India,
war.
Mexico and Canada, have you heard of them? And countless other
Tariffs are good if you
nations
use them like a
charge us
scalpel, not if you use them like a
tremendously higher
jackhammer.
tariffs than we charge them. It's very unfair. India charges us auto tariffs higher than 100%.
Yeah, they're
China's
trying to start their own
average tariff on our
auto
products
industry.
is twice what we
That's
charge
how you do it.
them. And South Korea's average tariff is 4 times higher. Think of that, 4 times higher. And we give so much help militarily and in so many other ways to South Korea. But that's what happens. This is happening by friend and foe. This system is not fair to the United States and never was. And so on April 2nd, I wanted to make it April 1st, but I didn't want to be accused of April Fool's Day. That's not, just one day cost us a lot of money.
With this asshole in office,
But
every day
we're
is
going
April
to do it
Fool's
in
Day.
April. I'm a very superstitious person. April 2nd, reciprocal tariffs kick in. And whatever they tariff us, other countries, we will tariff them. That's reciprocal, back and forth. Whatever they tax us, we will tax them. If they do non-monetary tariffs to keep us out of their market, then we will do non-monetary barriers to keep them out of our market. There's a lot of that, too. They don't even allow us in their market. We will take in trillions and trillions of dollars and create jobs like we have never seen before. I did it with China, and I did it with others, and the Biden administration couldn't do anything about it because there was so much money they couldn't do anything about it. We have been ripped off for decades by nearly every country on earth, and we will not let that happen any longer.
Grandpa's starting to get tired. He's running out of energy.
Much has been said over the last 3 months about Mexico and Canada, but we have very large deficits with both of them. But even more importantly, they've allowed fentanyl to come into our country at levels never seen before, killing hundreds
There's
of
no
thousands
fentanyl
of our
coming from Canada.
citizens and
They recently
young,
signed
beautiful
a
people destroying
bill to
families.
make it Schedule
Nobody's
1
ever
and
seen
make
anything
it
like it.
10-year minimum
They
or
are
something
in
like
effect
that.
receiving
About the
subsidies of hundreds of billions of
flooding the
dollars.
market with maple syrup.
Subsidies to Canada and to Mexico of hundreds of billions of dollars. And the United States will not be doing that any longer. We're not going to do it any longer. Thanks to our America First policies we're putting into place, we have had $1.7 trillion of new investment in America in just the past few weeks. The combination of the election,
Number big. Yay.
and
Like,
their
is
economic
that out
policies
of
that
whack with
people
any
are
other
SoftBank,
point in
one of the
time?
most brilliant
$12 billion into
announced
Trump coin
a
alone from
$200
foreign
billion
nations, such as
investment
Russia and China.
in
And
AI and Oracle. Larry Ellison announced $500 billion investment, which they wouldn't have done if Kamala had won. Apple announced $500 billion investment. Tim Cook called me. He said, I cannot spend it fast enough. It's going to be much higher than that, I believe. It'll be building their plants here instead of in China. And
That's
just
all to do. That's
yesterday,
all shit from the
Taiwan
CHIPS Act,
Semiconductor, the
passed
biggest
under
in the
Biden.
world, most powerful in the world.
He's taking credit. He's been running around taking credit
Tremendous
for the
amount,
CHIPS Act.
97%.
He's also going to get massive fucking infrastructure built
$165 billion
that Biden paid for
investment to
under
build
his
the most
president.
powerful chips on earth.
That he's going to
right
take
here
credit
in the USA.
Of course.
To be fair, shame on Biden for trying to create this like two-term policy.
Except for those trains. Trains are gay. Cars for everyone.
And we're not giving them any money. Your CHIPS Act is a horrible, horrible thing. We give hundreds of billions of dollars, and it doesn't mean a thing. They take our money and they don't spend it. All that meant...
You were just talking about the CHIPS Act, huh?
All that was important to them was they didn't want to pay the tariffs, so they came and they're building, and many other companies are coming. We don't have to give them money. We just want to protect our businesses and our people, and they will come because they won't have to pay tariffs if they build in America. So it's very amazing. You should get rid of the CHIP Act, and whatever's left over, Mr. Speaker, you should use it to reduce debt or any other reason you want to.
He just randomly throw a policy out of the annals of his dusty-ass brain and just bring it over to the House Republicans.
The new trade policy will also be great for the American farmer. I love the farmer.
Yeah, they're really going to love those tariffs that China's going to slap on all of the fucking soybeans. Asshole. God damn it.
Farmers so much he's slapping a tariff on exports of agricultural products. That's how much he loves the farmers. JD loves the farmers so much that he made a bunch of money taking their farmland. That's how much JD loves the farmers.
Uninspected. They may be very dirty and disgusting, and they come in and they pour in, and they hurt our American farmers. The tariffs will go on agricultural product coming into America, and our farmers starting on April 2nd.
And going out.
It may
and
be
going
a
out.
little bit of an adjustment period.
So JD,
before when I made the deal with China, $50 billion of purchases.
Along with Peter Thiel, was an early backer of a thing called Acre Trader, which is basically private equity to take your father's
This will be even better. That was great. The
Great
problem
idea.
with it was that Biden didn't enforce it. He didn't enforce it. $50 billion of purchases, and we were doing great, but Biden did not enforce it, and it hurt our farmers. But our farmers are going to have a field day right now. So to our farmers,
that's a pun.
I
think
love
he
you
tried
too.
to do that.
I love you too.
When you're a farmer, every day is field day.
And I have also imposed a 25% tariff on foreign aluminum, copper, lumber, and steel, because if we don't have, as an example, steel and lots of other things, we don't have a military, and frankly, we just won't have a country very long. Here today is a proud American steelworker.
We certainly won't have a country
person
long.
From Decatur, Alabama, Jeff Denard has been working at the same steel plant for 27 years in a job that has allowed him to serve as the captain of his local volunteer fire department, raised 7 children with his beautiful wife, Nicole, and over the years provide a loving home for more than 40 foster children. So great, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Stories like Jeff's remind us that tariffs are not just about protecting American jobs. They're about protecting the soul of our country. Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much. No, you're not. Oh. And look where Biden took us, very low, the lowest we've ever been. Jeff, I want to thank you very much. And I also want to recognize another person who has devoted herself to foster care community. She works so hard on it. A very loving person, our magnificent First Lady of the United States.
Melania's like, what? He just said something good about me? He hasn't done that ever.
Oh, thank you for calling Melania.
Melania's work has yielded incredible results, helping prepare our nation's future leaders as they enter the workforce. Our First Lady is joined by two impressive young women, very impressive. Haley Ferguson, who benefited
He
from
couldn't
the
have said
First
that
Lady's
any
Fostering the
creepier, could he?
Future initiative, and is poised to complete her education and become a teacher. And Elliston Berry, who became a victim of an illicit deepfake image produced by a peer. With Elliston's help, the Senate just passed the Take It Down Act, and this is so important. Thank you very much, John. John Thune, thank you. Stand up, John. Thank you, John. Thank you all very much. Thank you. And thank you to John Thune and the Senate. Great job. To criminalize the publication of such images online is a terrible, terrible thing. And once it passes the House, I look forward to signing that bill into law. Thank you. And I'm going to use that bill for myself, too, if you don't mind. Because nobody gets treated worse than I do online. Nobody. That's great. Thank you very much to the Senate.
That's not good. That's not good at all.
But if we truly care about protecting Americans' children, no step is more crucial than securing America's borders. Over the past 4 years, 21 million people poured into the United States. Many of them were murderers, human traffickers, gang members, and other criminals from the streets of dangerous cities all throughout the world. Because of Joe Biden's insane and very dangerous open border policies, they are now strongly embedded in our country, but we are getting them out and getting them out fast.
Not as fast as Biden. Not that that's a good thing.
And I want to thank Tom Homan and Christy. I want to thank
Fuck
you
that guy.
and Paul of Border Patrol. I want to thank you. What a job they've all done. Everybody, Border Patrol, ICE, well, law enforcement in general is incredible. We have to take care of our law enforcement. Have to. Last year, a brilliant 22-year-old nursing student named Laken Riley, the best in her class, admired by everybody, went out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia. That morning, Laken was viciously attacked, assaulted, beaten, brutalized, and horrifically murdered. Laken was stolen from us by a savage illegal alien gang member who was arrested while trespassing across Biden's open southern border and then set loose into the United States under the heartless policies of that failed administration. It was indeed a failed administration. He had then been arrested and released in a Democrat-run sanctuary city, a disaster, before ending the life of this beautiful young angel. With us this evening are Laken's beloved mother, Allison, and her sister, Lauren.
It's a horrific story, and it's cheapened every time it's used for something like this.
Last year, I told Laken's grieving parents that we would ensure their daughter would not have died in vain. That's why the very first bill I signed into law as your 47th president mandates the detention of all dangerous criminal aliens who threaten public safety. It's a very strong, powerful act.
It's a very strong, wide definition that you can do anything with.
It's called the Laken-Riley Act. So Allison and Lauren, America will never, ever forget our beautiful Laken Hope Riley. Thank you very much. Since taking office, my administration has launched the most sweeping border and immigration crackdown in American history, and we quickly achieved the lowest numbers of illegal border crossers ever recorded. Thank you.
Did you accidentally flip back to like page 2 then? When we already covered this?
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Yeah, we don't need legislation anymore. We just rule by fiat now. That's how these things work, right?
Thank you. Joe Biden didn't just open our borders, he flew illegal aliens over them to overwhelm our schools, hospitals, and communities throughout the country. Entire towns like Aurora, Colorado, and Springfield, Ohio, buckled under the weight of the migrant occupation and corruption like nobody's ever seen before. Beautiful towns destroyed. Now, just as I promised in my inaugural address, we are achieving the great liberation of America.
Freedom is slavery, war is peace, liberation is enslavement.
But there still is much work to
Dude,
be done.
who let Newt Gingrich
Here
in the
tonight
building?
is a woman I have gotten to know, Alexis Nungary from Houston. Wonderful woman. Last June, Alexis's 12-year-old daughter, her precious Jocelyn, walked to a nearby convenience store. She was kidnapped, tied up, assaulted for 2 hours under a bridge, and horrifically murdered. Arrested and charged with this heinous crime are
These
two
people that he
illegal
brings into the
monsters from
rotunda to
Venezuela,
relive their
released
crimes, like
into
this
America
style,
by the
like,
last
what?
administration through their ridiculous open
Yeah,
border.
it's exceptionally
The death
gross.
of this beautiful 12-year-old girl and
They're
the agony of her
exploiting
mother and
these
family touched
poor
our entire
families.
nation greatly. Alexis, I promised
And we have to state,
that we would
these
always
crimes committed
remember
by
your daughter,
immigrants
your
are
magnificent daughter,
the
and earlier tonight
outlier.
I signed an order
Immigrants
keeping
commit
my
crimes at a
word
far
to you.
lesser level than native
One
born
thing I have
Americans.
learned about Jocelyn is that she loved animals so much. She loved nature. Across Galveston Bay, from where Jocelyn lived in Houston, you will find a magnificent national wildlife refuge.
I have to get a drink, not alcoholic, but it should be.
Peaceful, 34,000-acre
I'll have one for you,
all
buddy.
of God's creatures on the edge of the Gulf of America. Alexis, moments ago, I formally renamed that refuge in loving memory of your beautiful daughter, Jocelyn. So, Mr. Vice President, if you would, may I have the order?
Well, there's a stunt you haven't seen before.
I will say one of the things that we need to do as Democrats is we need to make a parade of this the good stuff that we do. Like watching him sign these things,
members of the Venezuelan
and
prison
we just,
gang, the
you know,
toughest gang they say in
leverage
the
some
world.
stuff and some backroom. No, we need to come out and be like,
Nicaragua.
we won workers' rights.
2 weeks
Here
ago,
we
I
are
officially
signing.
designated this gang,
Yeah.
along with
Spectacle
MS-13
works.
and the bloodthirsty Mexican drug cartels, as foreign terrorist organizations.
Is this the one where he also has like 3 Palestine activists in there too? Because I know he's got one
Now
where
officially in the same category as
Yeah, I'm surprised this
ISIS,
hasn't come
and
up
that's
yet.
not good for them. Countless thousands of these terrorists were welcomed into the U.S. by the Biden administration. But now every last one will be rounded up and forcibly removed from our country, or
What's up, Kissel?
if they're too dangerous, put in
Good to see you.
jails, standing trial in this country, because we don't want them to come back ever. With us this evening is a warrior on the front lines of that battle, Border Patrol Agent Roberto Ortiz. Great guy.
my man Kissel in the chat has actually organized workers into a union.
Hell yeah.
Oh, my mic is bad, Robert. You say, wow, how long has my mic been bad? Can you hear that at all?
Oh, the whole time? I'm not going to call out your mic, though. I mean, you know, yeah, people are working with what they're working with.
In January, Roberto
Scale of 1 to 10, how bad is my
were
mic?
patrolling by the Rio Grande.
It was kind of muffly.
Near an area known as Cartel Island. Doesn't sound too nice to me. When heavily armed gunmen started shooting at them, Roberto saw that his partner was totally exposed, at great danger, and he leapt into action, returning fire and providing crucial seconds for his fellow agent to
Robert, we're all underwater now, my guy.
safety, just barely. I have some of the prints of that event, and it was not good. Agent Ortiz, we salute you for your great courage and for your line of fire that you took, and for the bravery that you showed. We honor you, and we will always honor you. Thank you, Roberto, very much.
See, the Latinos love me.
Oh, this can't go to
And I actually got to know him on my many calls to the border. He's a great gentleman. The territory to the immediate south of our border is now dominated entirely by criminal cartels that murder, rape, torture, and exercise total control. They have total control over a whole nation, posing a grave threat to our national security.
He's setting up to
The
invade.
cartels are waging war in America.
He is laying
and it's
the ground
time for America to wage war on the cartels, which we are doing.
He says the cartels have taken over the whole country.
Yep. I mean, military on our streets by year 3, year 2.
Mexican authorities, because of our tariff policies being imposed on them, think of this, handed over to us 29 of the biggest cartel leaders in their country. That has never happened before. They want to make us happy. First time ever. But we need Mexico and Canada to do much more than they've done, and they have to stop the fentanyl and drugs pouring into the USA. They're going to
Oh
stop
my God.
I have
My
sent
cat brought in
Congress
a
a
mouse.
detailed funding request
No,
laying out
no.
exactly how we will
Oh, no.
eliminate these threats to protect our homeland and complete the largest deportation operation in American
Brandon
history,
take
larger
care of
even
that
than
off screen.
current record holder, President Dwight D. Eisenhower, a moderate man, but someone who believed very strongly in borders. Americans expect Congress to send me this funding without delay so I can sign it into law. So, Mr. Speaker, John Thune, both of you, I hope you're going to be able to do that, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Mr. Leader, thank you. Thank you very much. And let's get it to me. I'll sign it so fast, you won't even believe it.
I signed it faster than I finished with Stormy.
And as we reclaim our sovereignty, we must also bring back law and order to our cities and towns.
Starting with Washington, D.C. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We have a criminal on the loose.
Our justice system has been turned upside down by radical left lunatics. Many jurisdictions virtually ceased enforcing
I wish
the
there
law
were some radical left
against
lunatics in
dangerous
Congress.
repeat offenders while weaponizing law enforcement against political opponents like me. My administration has acted swiftly and decisively to restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law, starting at the FBI and the DOJ. Pam, good luck. Cash, wherever you may be, good luck. Good luck. Pam Bond.
Cash ain't here. Cash Patel, he's just chilling.
Good luck. So
Yeah, he's
going to do a great job. Cash.
Oh, he is there.
There he is.
Thought you would be invested tonight, Cash.
They've already started very strong. They're going to do a
Is
fantastic
this the most
job.
coked up administration in American history?
We're also once again giving
Like,
our
does it beat even
police
80s
officers more
administration
protection and respect they so
levels of drug use?
dearly deserve. They have to get it. They have such a hard, dangerous job, but we're going to make it less dangerous. The problem is the bad
Nazis
guys
love
don't
uppers. What are you
respect
gonna
the
do?
law, but they're starting to respect it, and they soon will respect it. This also includes our great fire departments throughout the country. Our firemen and women are unbelievable people, and we'll never forget them. And besides that, they voted for me in record numbers, so I have no choice.
Not stopping you from fucking the farmers.
1 year ago this month, 31-year-old New York police officer Jonathan Diller, unbelievably wonderful person and a great officer, was gunned down at a traffic stop on Long Island. I went to his funeral. The vicious criminal charged with his murder had 21 prior arrests, and they were rough arrests, too. He was a real bad one. The thug in the seat next to him had 14 prior arrests and went by the name of Killer. He was Killer. He killed other people, they say, a lot of them. I attended officers.
It's so horrible to sit there through this.
When I met,
I feel so sorry for these people. I know they're Trump supporters.
Very inspirational,
out there and they're happy to get the ceremony of all. Man, sit through the re-traumatization of your time over and over with this. Yes, the mouth
These people know what they're doing, though. I mean, they know they're participating in the Trump project when they do this.
Laura, thank you for my concern. We got the illegal invading house out of the house. Made my house great again.
New York and we're going to get these cold-blooded killers and repeat offenders off our streets, and we're going to do it fast.
Terrible.
Get that mouse out of our house. Did it fast.
28 arrests. They push people into subway trains. They hit people over the head, back of the head with baseball bats. We got to get them out of here. I've already signed an executive order requiring a mandatory death penalty.
Even JD is putting together in his head. He's like, what story do I have to lie about in order to cover all the bases? It's like a mad lib president.
Bigley's not an average
Democratic City.
Asking for a new crime bill getting tough on repeat offenders while enhancing protections for America's police officers so they can do their jobs without fear of their lives being totally destroyed. They don't want to be killed. We're not going to let
so
them
they
be
can
killed.
beat the shit out of people and kill them with impunity. That's what you just said.
Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer.
In the schoolyard, he's the biggest bully. Bullies
That
always
mustache
make
for
fun
real?
of him.
I can't grow that mustache good that now when I'm a man.
But in 2018,
That kid does have a
DJ
real
was
mature
diagnosed
face,
with
doesn't he?
brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago.
Fucking A, man. Just trotting all these folks out here and just using them up for the worst possible shit.
Since that time, DJ and his dad have been on a quest to make his dream come true, and DJ has been sworn in as an honorary law enforcement officer, actually a number of times. The police love him, the police departments love him. And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
He's at least as competent as the people that work Butler, Pennsylvania.
He's like, does this mean I have to protect the president? Because if so, I resign.
Thank you, DJ. DJ's doctors believe his cancer likely came from a chemical he was exposed to when he was younger. Since 1975, rates of child cancer have increased by more than 40%. Reversing this trend is one of the top priorities for our new presidential commission to make America healthy again, chaired by our new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr.
I'm sure that's going to go great hand in hand with the gutting of the EPA and, you know, just spewing all sorts of chemicals and toxins into the environment. But yeah, Red 40 gave that kid cancer, not fucking pot.
With the name Kennedy, you would have thought everybody over here would have been cheering. How quickly they forget. Our goal is to get toxins out of our environment, poisons out of our
Steve, his
food
latest
supply,
executive order,
and
the whole
keep our
border is
children
now a
healthy
golf
and
course.
strong.
You actually get to
As
go,
an example,
putt around.
not long ago, and you can't even believe
sold to
these
Trump.
numbers. 1 in 10,000
Dimes on
children
the dollar.
had autism. 1 in 10,000, and now it's 1 in 36. There's something wrong. 1 in 36. Think of that. So we're going to find out what it is, and there's nobody better than Bobby and all of the people that are working with you. You have the best to figure out what is going on. Okay, Bobby? Good luck. It's a very important job. Thank you. Thank you. My administration is also working to protect our children from toxic ideologies in our schools.
Oh,
A few
fuck
years
you.
ago, January, Littlejohn and her husband discovered that their daughter's school had secretly socially transitioned their 13-year-old little girl. Teachers and administrators conspired to deceive January and her husband while encouraging her daughter to use a new name and pronouns. They, them pronoun, actually, all without telling January who is here tonight and is now a courageous advocate against this form of child abuse. January, thank you. Thank you.
He was one of the worst people ever cheered in the rotunda during the State of the Union address.
Yeah, and that's a long line.
This woman is a victim of nothing but her own intolerance.
Stories like this are why shortly after taking office, I signed an executive order banning public schools from indoctrinating our children with transgender ideology.
Banning schools from protecting their students from abusive parents.
I also signed
Say what it is.
to cut off
That's
all
what it is.
taxpayer funding to any institution that engages in the sexual mutilation of our youth. And now I want
Hey, Dwight Potter is back.
Oh my God, is that Brandon?
Criminalizing sex changes
What's up,
of
Brian?
children and
How
forever
are
ending
you?
the lie that any
I have an
child is
opportunity to talk shit on camera, hear myself talk, so you know I'm here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Blythe, you've missed nothing good.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Dude, I got home and my daughter was still awake, so...
America is that you are perfect exactly the way God
You've had a
made
much
you.
better last hour or so than us.
We've just been parading out victim after victim. It's been a victim parade.
Yeah, he's just using people left and right.
This out of our schools and out of our military, and it's already out, and it's out of our society. We don't want it. Wokeness is trouble.
Oh my.
Wokeness is bad. It's gone. It's gone. And we feel so much better for it, don't we? Don't we feel better?
No.
Our service members won't be activists and ideologues. They will be fighters and warriors. They will fight for our country. And Pete,
I'm bothered by the one with a grin.
Secretary of
Yeah,
Defense.
that one with the
Blythe, I'm going to let you take this.
Puppy, Pete, Pete.
Oh, puppy!
Why, as a member, as a former service member, what do you think of Pete?
Oh, I hate
Are you
him.
inspired?
Well,
I hate him so
I'm
much.
pleased to report that in
I hate
January,
him.
the U.S. Army had its single best recruiting month in 15 years, and that
That's
all
gotta be a
armed
lie.
services are having among the best
Again,
recruiting
I wouldn't
results
trust a
ever
single
in the
statistic coming out of
Yeah,
this
there's,
government.
I don't think
What a
that's true.
difference.
I should get my computer down because he said he's got like the best approval rating and he's got like historically the worst.
You know, it was just a few months ago where the results were
I see in the notes it
exactly the
decreased to
opposite. We couldn't
0.19.
recruit anywhere.
Oh, no,
We
that's
couldn't recruit.
PCAC.
Now we're having the best results just about that we've ever had. What a tremendous turnaround. It's really
Yes,
a
everything
beautiful
was
thing to
hell
see.
6 weeks
People
ago.
love our
Now it's
country again.
fucking
It's very
rainbows and
simple. They
sunshine.
love
All
our
the
country, and
goddamn
they
They are
love
the
being
time.
in the
worst.
military again. So it's a great thing, and thank you very much. Great job. Thank you.
Why are you still talking?
I
Is
could
this
not
thing
believe
going
you were
long,
still
or is
on.
it just me?
We're joined
No, this is
tonight
going long.
by a young man,
Angry
Jason
Birdie, there
Bernie,
we go.
who knows the
Angry
ways of
Birdie,
that
Birdie,
Call
not
of
lies.
Duty. Jason's father, grandfather,
I am
and
87 years old.
great-grandfather all
It is
wore the
past my
uniform.
bedtime.
Jason tragically lost his dad, who was also a Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy when he was just a boy, and now he wants to carry on the family legacy of service. Jason is a senior in high school, a 6-letter varsity athlete, a really good athlete, they say, a brilliant student with a 4.46.
There's only 3
GPA.
seasons.
And his
He
greatest
competes
dream
as
is
both
to
man and
attend
woman.
the U.S. Military Academy at West Point.
Ew, he looks like a...
It's like Rittenhouse without the baby fat.
Yeah, yes.
That was
Yeah, he
like-
really does. I was...
That's it?
Jason, that's a very big deal getting in. That's a hard one to
This
get
probably
into.
is
but
like stepbrother or something, half-brother.
I'm pleased to inform you that your
All white people look
application
alike.
has been accepted. You will soon be joining the Corps of Cadets.
That's at least like the third thing like this he's done now, where it's basically like a fucking game show.
Yeah, Democrats need to seriously steal this because we make appointments of good people all the time, and then we like quietly do it and send them away. No, and next time I make a legislative appointment in Highland, Indiana, I'm going to have them on Who's Left. We're gonna drag it out.
Yeah, whether it matters or not, we're gonna talk it up. Yes.
Thank you, Jason.
So
you're going to
weird.
be on the long gray line, Jason.
And now on the water board of Bargersville,
military of the future.
Blythe, if you check under you sign that paper, you'll be on the water board.
Golden Dome missile defense shield to protect our homeland, all made in the USA. And Ronald Reagan wanted to do it long ago, but the technology just wasn't there, not even close. But now we have the technology. It's incredible, actually. And other places they have it. Israel has it. Other places have it. And the United States should have it too, right, Tim, right?
Top 10 presidential bets, Ronald Reagan, way up there.
This is a
way up
very
there.
dangerous world. We should have it. We want to be protected, and we're going to protect our citizens like never before. To boost our defense industrial base, we are also going to resurrect the American shipbuilding industry, including commercial shipbuilding and military shipbuilding. For that purpose, I am announcing tonight
Navy's
that we will create a new office
newest
of
thing.
shipbuilding in the White House and offer special tax incentives to bring this industry.
I mean, that can you imagine how expensive that would be with all the tariffs we now have on steel and stuff?
Them anymore very much, but we're going to make them.
Well, we're gonna make it all at home, Blythe.
I mean, how?
I
I don't even think that's possible.
No,
is it?
Administration will be reclaiming the Panama Canal.
For some background here, up in Northwest Indiana here, they recently rejected the Nippon Steel deal. But our plant is like barely profitable. Nippon wants to improve it. Come in and make a bunch of technological shit. That's a controversial deal up here.
Things having to do with the Panama Canal and a couple of other canals. The Panama Canal was built by Americans for Americans, not for others, but others could use it. But it was built at tremendous cost of American blood and treasure. 38,000 workers died building the Panama Canal. They died of malaria. They died of snake bites. And
Blythe, even your dog knows this is dog shit.
Place to work.
I smelled it from a mile away. It was like, was that another dog here? What is that dog shit? I smell it.
Expensive project also that was ever built in our country's.
Elmo was like, "Why are you standing in my way?" I'm sitting just in the
by the Carter administration for $1.
Hey, buddy.
But that agreement has been violated
Michael.
very severely. We
What
didn't
is
give
that?
it to China. We gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
Oh, yeah, we're invading Panama, too. Why not? You're already taking Mexico. You might as well just do all of Central America, right? I mean...
I don't understand any of this. This is just dumb.
In charge. Good luck, Marco. Now, we know
He's like, oh, you've killed my career, President Trump, and I
Michael, what is that?
It's been amazing, and he's going to do
Can
a
you
great
look,
job.
please?
Think of it. He got 100 votes.
What up, Mike?
Brandon says hi.
With actually 99, but the 100th was this gentleman, and I feel very certain. So let's assume he got 100 votes, and I'm either very, very happy about that, or I'm very
This is a long state. How long is the average State of the Union?
He's already.
I don't know.
I feel like an hour and 10 tops. I mean, I know they started late, but good Lord, man. Wind this thing down.
He's gonna have to give away some more stuff first.
Gotta tire myself out.
And I also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland.
Oh, God.
We strongly support your right to determine your own
The
future.
average is 40 minutes.
And if you choose, we
Wow.
welcome you into the
Longer, more
United
recent.
States of
When?
America. We need Greenland for
run longer more
national
recently.
security
President,
and
it seems to be
international
getting longer and
We're
longer.
working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security. And I think we're going to get it one way or
Oh
the
my
other.
God.
We're going to get it.
This is so embarrassing.
We will keep you safe. We will make you rich, and together we will take Greenland to heights like you have never thought possible before. It's a very small population.
Yes.
Very, very
We'll take it to depths
large
never
piece
known
of land
before.
and very, very
It's
important
melting.
for military security. America is once again standing strong.
Mike
against
Johnson
the
is like,
forces of
Jesus fucking
radical
Christ.
Islamic terrorism.
They're gonna try me at the Hague.
He looks like he's gonna cry.
American service members.
JD just looks confused. What is he still talking?
JD looks like he smelled a fart.
And
being that he's behind Trump, he might have.
It was the way
The fact that he scrunched his face right as you said that was just like perfect timing, Scott.
Tonight I am pleased to announce that we have just apprehended the top terrorist responsible for that atrocity. And he is right now on his way here to face
And here he is! We're gonna execute him right here, right now.
Justice.
What?
And I want to thank especially the government of Pakistan for helping arrest this monster. This was a very momentous day for those 13 families who I actually got to know very well, most of them, whose children were murdered, and the many people that were so badly, over 42 people, so badly injured on that fateful day in Afghanistan. What a horrible day. Such incompetence was shown.
Here we go. We're going to blame that on Biden, too. That was your
Putin
fault,
saw
buddy.
what happened. I guess he said, wow, maybe this is my chance. That's how bad it was.
Trump's the one that made the deal and the deadline with that, right?
Yep, him and Pompeo.
I spoke to many of the parents and loved ones, and they're all in our hearts tonight. Just spoke to them on the
My phone says it's bedtime.
They're all in the places where our hearts should be.
Everybody was on the line, and they did nothing but cry with happiness. They were very happy, as happy as you can be under those circumstances. Their child, brother, sister, son, daughter was killed for no reason whatsoever. In the Middle East, we're bringing back our hostages from Gaza. In my first term, we achieved one of the most groundbreaking
They all look
peace
like they smelled a
agreements
fart.
in generations.
Well, I mean, they've been there for 2 hours. He's been farting the whole time.
I was going to have to wrap this thing up. The Depends is getting full at this point.
Yeah, but yeah. All right, I am gonna jump off here, guys. It was good to see you.
Good to see you, Blythe. Sorry we didn't get to hang out longer.
No worries. Bye, Brandon.
A lot of things are happening in the Middle East. People have been talking about that so much lately with everything going on with Ukraine and Russia. But a lot of things are happening in the Middle East. It's a rough neighborhood, actually. I'm also working tirelessly to end the savage conflict in Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians and Russians have been needlessly killed or wounded in this horrific and brutal conflict with no end in sight. The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's
Did he just
defense.
talk about all of the
With no
Russians that have been
security,
needlessly killed?
with no anything.
He didn't say anything about the Ukrainians who've been needlessly killed.
Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
Ugh, gross guy.
$2,000 people are being killed every single week. More than that. They're Russian young people. They're Ukrainian young people. They're not Americans. But I want it to stop. Meanwhile, Europe has sadly spent more money buying Russian oil and gas than they have spent on defending Ukraine, by far. Think of that. They've spent more
Not
buying
in the last
Russian
3 years, they
oil and
haven't.
gas than they have defending. And we've spent perhaps $350 billion.
That's
like
3
taking
times the actual
candy
number.
from a baby. That's what happened. And they've spent $100 billion. What a difference that is. And we have an ocean separating us, and they don't. But we're getting along very well with them, and lots of good things are happening. Biden has authorized more money in this fight than Europe has spent by billions and billions of dollars. It's hard to believe that they wouldn't have stopped it and said at some point, come on, let's equalize. You got to be equal to us. But that didn't happen. Earlier today, I received an important letter
Somebody
from
get kicked out
President
again, for the love of God.
Zelensky of Ukraine. The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table
Have
as
some
soon as
decorum,
possible.
Scott. We're talking about the destruction of the unipolar American international world order. You need to have some decorum. Maybe, I think they're writing a letter about how angry they are about all of this over there.
It was so strongly worded.
America has done
All
to
the
help
words.
Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence. Regarding the agreement on minerals and security, Ukraine is ready to sign it at any time that is convenient for you. I appreciate that he sent this.
When I saw this mineral deal, it instantly reminded of Smedley Butler and his quote about how he was sent to be as I was watching that speech, I was like, this is it, it's strongman for capitalism. It's happening right here, right into our eyes. Strongman for capitalism and big business.
Wouldn't that be beautiful? It's time to stop this madness. It's time to halt the killing. It's time to end this senseless war. If you want to end wars, you have to talk to both sides. Nearly 4 years ago, amid rising tensions, a history teacher named Mark Fogel was detained in Russia and sentenced to 14 years in a penal colony. Rough stuff. The previous administration barely lifted a finger to help him. They knew he was innocent, but they had no idea where to begin. But last summer, I promised his 95-year-old mother, Malphine, that we would bring her boy safely back home.
Look, she looks great for 95. Let's give it to her.
And they are here tonight.
They didn't do what it was supposed to.
To Mark and his great mom, we are delighted to have you safe and sound and with us. As fate would have it, Mark Fogel was born in a small rural town in Butler, Pennsylvania. Have you heard of it? Where his mother has lived for the past 78 years. I just happened to go there last July 13th for a rally. That was not pleasant. And that is where I met his beautiful mom right before I walked onto that stage. And I told her I would not forget what she said about her son. And I never did I? Never forgot. Less than 10 minutes later, at that same rally, gunfire rang out, and a sick and deranged assassin unloaded 8 bullets from his sniper's perch into a crowd of many thousands of people. My life was saved by a fraction of an inch, but some were not so lucky. Corey Comparator was a firefighter, a veteran, a Christian, a husband, a devoted father.
I'm going to trot his family out
above
here now
all,
too while we're
a
doing this.
protector. When the sound of gunshots pierced the air, it was a horrible sound. Corey knew instantly what it was and what to do. He threw himself on top of his wife and daughters and shielded them from the bullets with his own body. Corey was hit really hard. You know the story from there. He sacrificed his life to save theirs. 2 others, very fine people, were also seriously hit. But thankfully, with the help of 2 great country doctors, we thought they were gone and they were saved. So those doctors had great talent. We're joined by Corey's wife, Helen, who was his high school sweetheart, and their 2 beloved daughters, Allison and Kaylee. Thank you.
Mom, do we have to? Mom, do we have to? He's really gross. We don't like him. We don't like this. It feels bad.
The one in the middle clearly is not okay with it. We've got another hour of this. So
Allison and Kaylee, Corey is looking down on his 3 beautiful ladies right now, and he is cheering you on. He loves you. He is cheering you on. Corey was taken from us much too soon, but his destiny was to leave us all with a shining example of the selfless devotion of a true American patriot. It was love like Corey's that built our country, and it's love like Corey's that is going to make our country more majestic than ever before. I believe that my life was saved that day in Butler for a very good reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. I believe that. Thank you. Thank you very much. From the patriots of Lexington and Concord to the heroes of Gettysburg and Normandy, from the warriors who crossed the Delaware to the trailblazers who climbed the Rockies, and from the legends who soared at Kitty Hawk to the astronauts who touched the moon, Americans have always been the people who defied all odds, transcended all dangers, made the most extraordinary sacrifices, and did whatever it took to defend our children, our country, and our freedom. And as we have seen in this chamber tonight, that same strength, faith, love, and spirit is still alive and thriving in the hearts of the American people. Despite the best efforts of those who would try to censor us, silence us, break us, destroy us, Americans are today a proud, free, sovereign, and independent nation that will always be free, and we will fight for it till death. We will never let anything happen to our beloved country.
I'm pretty sure we're in a
Because we are
Russian
country
vassal
of
state at
doers,
this
dreamers,
point, right?
fighters, and survivors. Our ancestors crossed a vast ocean, strode into the unknown wilderness, and carved their fortunes from the rock and soil of a perilous and very dangerous frontier.
I can't even imagine the heyday that the Russian State Department has every time that this guy does anything.
Railroads, laid the highways, and
You ever see some of these like from the Russian talk shows, like the Russian Fox News, where they're just like watching shit he does over here, and they're like, "My God, I couldn't have written this any better myself."
Broke free of the force of gravity, fired up the engines of American industry, vanquished the communists, fascists, and Marxists all over the world, and gave us countless modern wonders.
Except for the fascists standing right here.
Glass and steel. We stand on the shoulders of these pioneers who won and built the modern age. These workers who poured their sweat into the skylines of our cities.
Ew.
These warriors who shed their blood on fields of battle and gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. Now it is our time to take up the righteous cause of American liberty. And it is our turn to take America's destiny into our own hands and begin the most thrilling days in the history of our country. This will be our greatest
wild
era. With God's help, over the next 4 years, we are going to lead this nation even higher, and we are going to forge the freest, most advanced, most dynamic, and most dominant civilization ever to exist on the face of this earth. We are going to create the highest quality of life.
This is getting real white nationalist right now.
Wealthiest and healthiest.
Oh, this has got Stephen Miller written all over it.
Communities anywhere in the world. We are going to conquer the vast frontiers of science, and we are going to lead humanity
like David Henry. That sounds like he's the crib Mary working and ran it through Chat GPT, except like uses thesaurus for like the opposite of everything he's saying.
Oh, we got some people leaving early over there. Some people are leaving because the clock struck 10,
the unstoppable power of the American spirit. And we are going to renew unlimited promise of the American dream.
I think Mike Johnson is looking over there because you have Democrats leaving because it's 11 o'clock.
For the country our citizens believe in, and for the country our people deserve.
They're like this thing's got to be about over, right? Well, I'm going to beat traffic.
I think Lauren Boberton looks so weird.
It's a lot of work.
It's because it's the other arm, not the movie theater arm.
Yeah.
My fellow Americans, get ready for an incredible future because the golden age of America has only just begun. It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before. Thank you. God bless you. And God
Never
bless
seen before.
America.
Oh. Well. Man.
Let's go Psychot for San Francisco. Send Psychot Soccer Body some money. Nancy's got to go. Nancy ain't got nothing. No, we need better than Nancy nowadays.
Nancy should have gone a couple cycles ago. So, like, on Trump's end, we knew what we were going to get, right? That was a fire hose of lies for 2 hours. I mean, like, did we all survive? Are we still here? Like, do we know which direction is up or down? What's 2 + 2, Brandon?
I think I just heard it was 7.
It's whatever I say it is. But no, we knew it was going to be, a fire hose of bullshit from this guy. But I had so much hope. I had, fucking Al Green, the fucking hero of this thing. Like, I wanted that every 5 minutes for the whole thing.
Yep. At least, at minimum, at parts where he's done egregious things, like, can we not, the best we can do is hold a placard for Russia? Like, this is just insufficient. It is just insufficient.
See, okay. Now, Rachel's saying apparently a bunch of the Democrats left during the thing. Okay, like, fine.
Make some noise on the way out.
Yeah, like, I don't know, man. Go out, two fingers blazing, right? Like, if you're just walking out and the camera didn't see it, it didn't happen.
Yep.
If it didn't cause a ruckus, if it didn't disrupt the speech, if it didn't knock him off of his game, it didn't happen. So I that was a real missed opportunity. There was too much decorum for my liking. We're going to decorum ourselves straight off the edge of a fucking cliff.
Kudos to Al Green, who came in as a man with a fucking plan and did what all of us are thinking. But everybody else is just the fealty. I mean, it's so frustrating in politics. I speak as like a committeeman who's been around other political decisions. The way that politics mutes everything and everyone is very dangerous, and it's part of how we ended up here, because people got sick of that, and now they just want the opposite, which is Trump just flinging shit at the wall, no mute, no filter, no nothing. And I think as a party, we really have to get some more bombastic people out there representing our values than, this shit. I mean, it's not sufficient. It doesn't bespeak the moment that we claim to be rallying people around. Oh, it's the end of democracy. Well, we're not fucking acting like it. This doesn't look like the end of democracy to me. This looks like another State of the Union.
And and Trump is just—he's so good at manipulating the media and making them just follow whatever he does, and he's brilliant in his own sick way, and they just keep
demagogue.
For it.
I mean, he's just
falling for it.
Classic demagogue. I mean, this is like ancient Greece. They wrote about this. They understood that the masses there's always 50% plus one of people that can get fooled by a demagogue. Yeah. Somebody promising everything and delivering nothing. Somebody, here we are. I mean, this is it. The failure of Democrats to live up to the moment is really disappointing to me. But of course, it needs to be stated that it's the Republicans destroying our fucking nation.
Yes.
Democrats are holding a meeting sometime within the next 3 weeks to determine a strategy to create a memo and some talking points as to how they're going to respond to this, which is better than nothing.
Yeah, or they're spending all of their time trying to wrangle those last two lemmings from jumping off the cliff, while the rest of us are all right here like, hey, what about us?
Trump's like Christo nationalist invocation of his own assassination attempt too is real fucking worrying.
They were doing that immediately. I mean, they had the far right pastors and podcasters were out there the next day talking about the divine hand of God saving Trump so he could make America great. Oh, hold on. Sorry. I couldn't even say it. Last week, I was talking to David Henry, and we were talking about just this.
David Henry's a G. That's why they call him David G. Henry. But go on.
The G is for fucking gangster.
Yeah.
And but we were talking about how most people in this country we exist at the level of professional wrestling, right? We are not like the great orators or, you should not be reading Churchill and Kennedy and studying like Obama, working on your Obama impression, Josh Shapiro. And you should be watching Raw. You should be watching Monday Night Raw. And kind of out of nowhere, Jon Stewart talked about this last night on The Daily Show. This was like his whole monologue was, hey, it's all professional wrestling. And he was talking about, the Zelensky and the Trump and like a heel turn, right? But it all exists on that level. And Democrats, God, I love us. But we're too smart for our own fucking good.
Well, I think that what we have to do is we kind of just have to break the barrier, Scott. So I know a long time ago, and actually Tom McDermott up here was recently bragging on his podcast about how he was first to punch with the podcasting and the getting out the word. And the reality is that we have a Democratic Party apparatus that is scared to do that. They're afraid to do that, and they constantly push down these people who are very good communicators. We recently saw this with the House oversight vote. I believe Carson voted AOC based on my understanding of his voting patterns. And I believe he's a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. But my congressman up here in Congressional District 1, Frank Moran, has some of the most conservative votes in Congress, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yep.
And I know for a fact that he voted with his new Democratic coalition mate, Jerry Connolly. Now, if you look up this new Democratic coalition, it's literally just fealty to the ruling class, just a list of people who want to lick the boot. It's literally like a boot licking order. Just boom.
I know you saw the reports from Politico this past weekend and the third wave retreat, and I just wanted to throw my goddamn phone across the room. I'm like, don't you dare. And speaking of third way Democrats, we're going to be hearing from Alyssa Slotkin here shortly, and I hope she doesn't bring some squishy centrist pablum, but I'm not holding out hopes, you know?
No. Oh, I see. I forgot about our response. I like this. We get a response. This is the person we're supposed to be elevating, except it's a notoriously bad role to take.
It's a terrible, which I guess is okay that they're giving it to her, because I don't want to see this kind of Democrat elevated. Again, Alyssa Slotkin checks all the boxes, very competent person, professional, has the national security background, yada, 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 yada. But, like, I don't know, that doesn't exactly inspire me to run through a fucking wall like Jasmine Crockett does.
Jasmine Crockett's got it. I like the Crockett edition. I actually got to see her live at the DNC up here in Chicago. I wasn't a delegate, but they had public things that people could go to, and we were able to listen to her. She was speaking on women's issues, and she, of course, speaks to that extremely powerfully.
She speaks to whatever she speaks about extremely powerfully. And she brings it, and she's relatable, and she talks like a fucking human being. You know, AOC's been doing so well. And I'm just not seeing a whole lot of leadership from other places. Hakeem Jeffries, man, like, he doesn't have the juice.
The liberal theory of power just fails this moment. So fundamentally, liberalism states that everybody gets to vote, and we lost, and we got to suck it up for 4 years, and we just got to let it happen and let it ride, and yada, yada, yada. Same shit as the Weimar liberals in Nazi Germany. So if you actually believe that this is a Nazi Germany congruent moment, then you don't want to listen to these fucking liberals anymore, because historically, those are the people whose appeasement led us into, the Holocaust. And historically, it's the people on the left who were able to ameliorate some of the worst of that situation. And, of course, then Soviet Russia come in and whooped some Nazi ass. We never like to credit them with that, but they killed way more Nazis than America ever did. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's a true story, and hold on, here comes Alyssa Slotkin.
Let's hear it.
She's got to say.
It's late, so I promise to be a lot shorter than what you just watched. I won't take it personally if you've never heard of me. I'm the new senator from the great state of Michigan, where I grew up. I've been in public service my entire life because I happened to be in New York City on 9/11 when the Twin Towers came down. Before the smoke cleared, I knew I wanted to make a life in national security. I was recruited by the CIA and did 3 tours in Iraq alongside the military. In between, I worked at the White House under President Bush and President Obama.
So we're doubling down on the spook angle.
Believed that America is exceptional. You can find that same sense of patriotism here in Wyandotte,
get
Michigan,
the want to lean into this because we are being sold out to a foreign government by our,
both won here in November.
Republican
It might
Party,
not seem
but
like it, but plenty of places like this still exist across the United States.
Scott, I heard that they originally offered this spot to Liz Cheney, and then she declined it, and that's why we get Alyssa Slot.
It
seriously.
reminds me of how I grew up. My dad was a lifelong Republican, my mom a lifelong Democrat. But it was never a big deal because we had shared values that were bigger than any one party. We just went through another fraught election season. Americans made it clear that prices are too high
Did she
and
say
that the
fraud
government
election
needs to be
season?
more responsive to their needs. America wants change, but there's a responsible way to make change and a reckless way. And we can make that change without forgetting who we are as a country and as a democracy. So that's what I'm going to lay out tonight. Because whether you're from Wyandotte or Wichita, most Americans share three core beliefs: that the middle class is the engine of our country, that strong national security protects us from harm, and that our democracy, no matter how messy, is unparalleled and worth fighting for. Let's start with the economy.
I don't think I agree with any of those 3 points, actually.
The middle class.
I agree with parts of all of these points.
Work at an auto plant and afford the car you are building. That's the American dream. And in order to expand and protect the middle class, we have to do a few basic things.
How could you even claim as a Democrat right now that we are the strongest democracy in the world, as we are simultaneously saying that an oligarchy has taken control of our democracy,
union jobs,
and we are in an irreparable
back home from places like
Say, oh, well, gosh, that's what 50% plus one wanted.
need to invest and create the jobs of the future.
This fucking sucks. I hate that the Democrats are going to force people like you and me, Scott.
Look, the president talked a big game on the economy.
If we don't win the primary in 2028, we're going to have to suck it up again for more of this shit. You can feel it coming from a mile away.
Not even close.
I'm going to have to talk to all my friends and convince them why they need to vote for the Democrats, and then they're not going to do it.
He's on the hunt
because they're going to have ethical concerns that are valid.
In America.
Yeah.
And then we're going to end up in the same fucking spot. And we're going to have no energy. Nobody's going to be knocking doors.
Grocery and home prices are going up, not down. And he hasn't
This
laid
is
out
such
credible
a
plan to
cookie
deal
cutter
with either of
speech.
those.
Will the CIA send
like Canada will
canvassers?
raise prices on
Can
energy,
we get a
lumber,
hookup
cars.
on some CIA
It's like
canvassers? Is
trade war,
that a part of this deal?
manufacturing and farmers.
Well, there's probably going to be a bunch of fired CIA agents looking for shit to do.
Because the math on his
True.
proposals doesn't work without going after.
Hey, we got a great shot at Virginia. They're all unemployed now.
The national
You know
debt
it.
is going up, not down. And if he's not careful, he could walk us right into a recession. And one more
Could
thing.
we are? We're already in one.
That is the weakest fucking phrasing of that. If he's not careful, he could walk us into a recession. You could argue we're in a recession right now. Why aren't we arguing that?
We are. I think I've seen, what, didn't the Atlanta Fed say basically today? Was that today that the Atlanta Fed, or yesterday maybe, said, yeah, the economy shrank like 2.8% last
your bank accounts. No oversight.
This shit's
no
always month
protections
behind.
Against cyber attack. No guardrails on what they do with your private data. We need a more efficient government. You want to cut waste? I'll help you do it. But change doesn't need to be chaotic or make us less safe. The mindless firing of people who work to protect our nuclear weapons.
Does this
keep our
resonate with the
planes from
normies?
crashing, and conduct the research that finds the cure for cancer, only to rehire them 2 days later? No CEO in America could do that without being summarily fired. Okay, so we've talked about economic security. How about national security? Let's start with the border. As someone who spent my whole career protecting our homeland, every country deserves to know who and what is coming across its border. Period. Democrats and
The
Republicans
fact that we
should
fucking
all be for that.
capitulated on this makes me
But
so upset
securing the
for
border
all of my
without actually
friends
fixing
in
our
the
broken
immigrant
immigration
community,
system
the
is
immigrant
dealing with
rights.
the symptom and not the disease.
So many
America is
good
a nation of immigrants.
organizers
We need a functional
out there.
system keyed to the needs of our economy that allows vetted people to come and work here legally. So I look forward to the president's plan on that. Because here's the thing.
On the
Today's
screen
world is
right now.
deeply interconnected.
David
Migration,
O.G.
cyber
Henry.
threats, AI,
Quote, you
environmental
got ripped off
destruction,
America.
terrorism.
You got
One
disrespected.
nation
Your
cannot
social
face these
security
issues
is getting
alone.
robbed.
We need friends in
You
all
are a
corners,
veteran that just got
and
your
our
health care
safety
stolen,
depends on it.
but we are fighting back. We
President
will
Trump
take
loves
back
to
that
say
office
peace through
in a
strength.
steel
That's
cage
actually a line he
match.
stole from
Take your
Ronald
shot.
Reagan.
Woo!
But let me
See,
tell you,
that
after the spectacle that,
that
just took place in
resonates
the
with the
Oval Office
normies.
last week,
I
Reagan
100% agree with David, and I've got a buddy up by me. In fact, my buddy was just at the Indianapolis Royal Rumble, and he's in the committee with me. And he's like, we're not connecting alone. Nobody listens to what Democrats say. They're not normal. They come out, they're like, oh, yeah, the deficit 3.2%. Average reading level is like 7th grade. You got to come out there and you got to be like, Trump's being a fucking asshole. He's stealing our Social Security. And so on. You just got to hit him with
Yeah. Oh, 7th grade is generous. I want to say it's like
as a Cold War kid, I'm thankful it was Reagan and not Trump in office in the 1980s. Trump would have lost us the Cold War. Donald Trump's actions suggest
quit
that
with the
in
Reagan
his
filleting.
heart,
Reagan
he
was a
doesn't
fucking
believe we're an
monster
exceptional
too. He
nation.
sucked. Tell the
Doesn't
truth.
think
We've
we
been,
should
just
lead the
say
world.
it. We've been wrong. We've all been
America
wrong
is not
for
perfect,
years.
but I stand with the majority
We
of
fucked up.
Americans who
We went
believe we are
along with
still
it.
exceptional,
Our bad. We're going to make
unparalleled.
it right.
And I would rather have American leadership over Chinese or Russian leadership any day of the week. Because for generations, America has offered something better. Our security and our prosperity, yes, but our democracy, our very system of government, has been the aspiration of the world. And right now, it's at risk.
And it was
It's at risk when the president decides you can pick and choose what rules you want to follow,
It's rigged, and it's been
when he
rigged.
ignores court orders and the Constitution itself, or when elected leaders stand by and just let it happen. But it's also at risk when the president pits Americans against each other.
The Constitution
when he
itself
demonizes
is
those
kind
who
of
are different
trash.
and tells certain people
There's a
they
lot of
shouldn't
holes
be
in
included.
the fucking thing.
Because America is not just a patch of land between two oceans. We are more than that. Generations have fought.
Yeah, now we have some of the land in between the ocean.
Those rights and the
We're
fight
about
for them
to.
make us who we are. We're a nation of strivers, risk takers, innovators, and we are never satisfied. That is America's
And
superpower.
extremely impoverished people looking
I've
for
lived
help.
and worked in many
I
countries.
don't see any risk taking
I've
in
seen
the Democratic
democracies
Party.
flicker out. I've seen what life is like when a government is rigged.
We are
You
the
can't open a
conservative
business
party
without
now.
paying off a corrupt official. You can't criticize the guys
Democrats
in
are the
charge
conservative
without getting
party.
a knock at the
Republicans
door
are the
in middle
radical
of the night.
reactionary party.
So as
Reactionary
much as we
party.
need to make our
There is
government
no
more
left.
responsive to our lives today, don't for one moment fool yourself that democracy isn't precious and worth saving. But how do we actually do that? I know a lot of you have been asking that
Please.
question.
Yes.
Don't tune
Give us
out.
an answer, Democrats.
It's easy to be exhausted, but America needs you now more than ever. If previous generations
This is
had
true.
not fought for this democracy, where would we be today? Second, hold your elected officials, including me, accountable. Watch how they're voting.
No, they don't like
Go to town
that.
halls
I
and
speak
demand
from
they take
experience. They do.
action.
If you're
That's as American
elected
as apple
official as a
pie.
Democrat, we don't actually.
Third, organize. Pick just one issue you're passionate about and engage. And doom scrolling doesn't count. Join a group that cares about your issue and act.
we can't
And if
post
you
our way
can't
out of
find
this.
one, start one. Some of the most important movements in our history have come from the bottle up. In closing, we all know that our country is going through something right now. We're not sure what the next day is going to hold, let alone the next decade. But this isn't the first time we've experienced significant and tumultuous change as a country.
It can't be done,
I'm
Candace.
a
Just
student
hang in there as a
We've
Democrat
gone
with
through
us.
periods of political
Can't be
instability
done.
before.
It's Duverger's law. Look this shit up. I know we
changing this
need a new
country for the
party,
better.
but we're not going to get one.
But
So make the
every single
Democratic
time,
Party
we've
better.
only gotten through those
The
moments because
answer.
of two things.
It's a fucking hard
You
answer.
said what I was typing, Brandon. You
Engage
said what I was
citizens
typing.
a little bit more than they're used to doing to fight for the things that they care about.
Yeah.
And principled leaders who are ready to receive the ball and do something about it.
Don't restart the project. They got 70 million votes in the Democratic Party.
It is.
You qualify.
It is professional wrestling.
And I
There's
promise that
only
I
heel and
my fellow
face,
Democrats
and
will do
shades of gray in
everything in our
between.
power to be the
But there's
principled
no
leaders that
other
they
thing.
deserve. Good night, everyone.
I will say we can take over the whole fucking party. We can. It's literally decayed. It's very easy to
I
do.
thought the Republican Party of the Bush era, the way they bullied a whole country into going into a couple unnecessary wars, the way they packed the Supreme Court, The way that, like, even when Obama won, the snap back to that in 2010, and the way they gerrymandered everything into submission, like, I thought that was the kind of tight machine you couldn't take over. And Trump and a bunch of fucking Russian mob guys took over that machinery, the Republican Party.
My main takeaway that we've got on is we're way more modern, and the way that young people can take over the Democratic Party because the old people in charge don't understand the tech of running a party. So if you just go in, you're able to use the computer to get the election forms that you need, send the emails you need, find the information you need. A lot of these old boomers can't do that. When we went to take over the party up here by us, which we did successfully, there were people who didn't know the rules. And they signed up to run against us, and they weren't even in geographically the places where they signed up. So use their own, if you think that the Democrats are feckless and incompetent, then test it out. Test it out in your own local town. Find out how feckless and incompetent they are. I'll tell you, if you're in Northwest Indiana, you're probably right. But then if you live in Hammond, you're going to test it out, and you're going to find out you get your ass whooped by McDermott and friends. So it depends on where you are.
There's machines in places. God, this is another thing I'm talking about right now. I'm not, by doing this, I'm putting off, like, actually producing the episode I want to talk about, which is the Indianapolis Democrats and how just it's holding back the whole state. But that's a whole other thing. I don't want to get there, but there,
look at us, Marion County. We in Lake County are the captains now. We lead the party now under Chairman Repay, who will bring democracy back to Lake County. We have great confidence in Chairman Repay. It's good. It's a good day. It's a good day in Lake County.
I would like to be introduced.
We could do that. Repay would get on a podcast, I think.
Would love to talk, because there's definitely a bit of that old city Democrat machine thing going on down here, and when Republicans talk about Democrat-run cities, they have a point, because what happens is the Republicans typically take over these states and pack, Democrats into a district. So then when special interests need something done, they've got to slime the Democrats that are there, and you always find enough to play along, Yep. No matter the letter after your name, like, either you got values and standards or you don't.
I'll tell you right now, I'm tired of hearing the phrase whenever I confront people in Lake County on some bullshit, which is often in Lake County. I don't know what you know about Lake County politics, but
I lived in Lake County for a couple of years. Yeah, I'm from up that way originally. So, it's basically an extension of the kind of Chicago machine going back.
And it's the same answer all the time. It's always, Brandon, that's politics. And I always say the same thing back. I say, well, it's fucking losing politics. Have you looked around? Like, we're losing ground, guys. Like,
that's
this
politics.
is not it anymore.
Any of the shit Trump has been doing for the last 10 years, politics, as we knew it at any time before. Like, we're not doing that kind of politics now. We're doing a different kind of politics. We're in the Trump era, whether we like it or not. I mean, it's gross. The way he is gross, but he knows how to pull people in, and he knows how to manipulate the media, and he knows how to keep people on their toes. And he's the charismatic charlatan, right?
He really is. He really is.
He's the trickster from your deck of cards, but like with all his abilities turned up to whatever. I don't play D&D. I'm losing myself.
I would love to see the Democrats truly embrace fighters more. So in our recent reorg that we had around here, we had a very good organizer, and one of the best I've ever seen. She was actually down in Georgia with me. I've got a cool story. I was down organizing for Senator Warnock in Georgia, and in the hotel lobby, all of a sudden a crew came in from the 219, not pre-planned, no pre-coordination, just so. Huh. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And that person recently ran for vice chair and actually dropped out during her speech because of the types of games that we play against activists. And what I tell people is the party is truly a big tent. And I'll get in some trouble with some people on the left for saying what I'm about to say, but I don't give a shit. I'm telling the truth. It is what it is. The party works and wins when we got everybody from Joe fucking Manchin, and I don't like him. Don't take that as a endorsement.
Yeah.
Okay? But Joe Manchin's value of a replacement Republican Virginia representative is massive. Okay?
Yeah.
And so you have to work with that. Joe Donnelly was one in Indiana. God, I hated when he cut that ad for healthcare over my dead body. Shut the fuck up, Joe.
No, I know. Yeah. Fucking. Ugh.
But the thing that really gets me is I actually don't mind them being in the party. I understand why we have people like Joe Donnelly and why we have people like Terry Gooden is a good modern example in the Indiana party.
Let me get it on the record that I fucking love Terry Gooden. I don't love.
I love Terry too. I know he's antiquated.
Terry is the fucking nicest guy you will ever meet.
He's one of the most skilled politicians in Indiana. That's why you like him, because he's got that ability to communicate with the common man, but he's simultaneously brilliant. And the thing is, there needs to be room for that in the party, and there also needs to be room for the left. I know many good organizers, and of course I get to sound, like sour grapes because I was removed from the Lake County Party myself, and then came back, got voted back in. And there are many great organizers. One of the greatest organizers that I knew from 2016 was a woman named Amanda Schutte. And she ain't even involved in a lot of stuff anymore. She's from down there in southern Indiana because she got rung around. Yeah, she got rung around by the party. But she was an excellent, excellent political organizer. And so if we're going to move forward, it has to be both. It has to be the Schuttes, the Dothagers, the Scott Aaron Rodgers. It has to be Tom McDermott getting on his podcast saying the exact opposite shit of what we're saying. And it's all cool.
Yeah.
And it's all cool. We don't have people freaking out, crying about it. We're not there yet. We're definitely not there yet. We've got a lot of, institutionalized hacks in our party. And I always ask them, what institution are we talking about? Indiana is a trifecta Republican government. What institution are we protecting here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They got the mayor's office in Indianapolis. That's what we got, and that comes with a lot of booze, apparently. But that's.
I hated the decisions of IDP to pour money into and resources into the Indianapolis mayor's office against Jefferson Shreve because he put up so much goddamn money. They fell for it. He put that money there.
Yeah.
And then they ran. And Hogsett was literally never in trouble. You probably could have not spent a dime or any other resources, and he probably still would have been of the IDP. I'm not saying Hogsett needed to still run his own campaign, but the Central Party could have done a million other things with those millions of dollars, but they only view themselves as effective in the donut. And what you end up with there is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you only view yourself as effective in the donut of 465, then you will only be effective in the donut.
Hey, look, here is who probably should have given that rebuttal. Is Maxwell Frost.
Oh hell yeah! Turn on Max Frost. Turn it up.
Let's see what he's got to say.
Max can actually speak.
Which he's going to
do nothing for the people and take all the money and give it to themselves. That's exactly what Donald Trump wants to do.
Let me ask about that, the specificity of the message there. I mean, one of the issues that I think the country is sort of having a hard time calibrating, like getting a sense of like how big is this? How different is this from previous political confrontations we've had between people with different ideas about the way the government should run or what we should be doing with our money? I think one of the things that people just can't grasp is the king idea, right? The king idea is not just the unitary presidency, right? It's not just about consolidating power over the
And you know
executive
what?
branch.
Some shit is that
The
then you
idea
get
of a king,
Democrats
which is
who
what you
get
had on your
wistful
back of your
about the
shirt,
Bush
is that
era,
you've
right?
got a unitary
Like,
power,
and they were
that the
doing that
Congress
unitary
is
executive
decorative
shit.
or beside the point or could be abolished.
And we
never
didn't call it out for
happen.
what it
That the
was
courts
then.
are decorative. The courts are there to essentially ratify what the ruler wants to do, and that the rule of law
Maxine
is
did.
really just the rule of
Right.
the ruler, and the law can be dressed up to occasion whatever it is he wants. Is that the scale of threat to this country that you think we are literally up against, or is this a hyperbolic charge?
It's not hyperbolic at all. And this shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. It is all in Project 2025. Donald Trump is the president, but he is also the Speaker of the House, effectively. He has an entire Republican Congress that is allowing him to do whatever he wants. None of them utter a peep against what he's saying unless their town halls are stormed and either they're running out or they say, maybe I disapprove a little bit. But Donald Trump has complete control over the Republicans in Congress.
Ours won't
And so
show up.
what the founders set out to do is have a Congress and have a presidency that work.
Caught a couple of shots of Aaron Houchin in the
branches of
crowd
government,
tonight.
Checks on one another, checks and balances.
Good to see
But we
she's
don't
still
have that
alive.
right
You
now.
wouldn't know it
We
around
have
here.
one person who runs the Congress because he runs the entire majority.
One of the things that we saw in the Democratic response from Senator Slotkin was an interesting choice. I'm not sure I've ever seen anything like this before. And you talk about your organizing background. She sort of raised the alarm a little bit along the lines that you were talking about tonight, and then said, as a CIA
I will say
officer,
Indiana
which is
Democrats
her
made
past,
some progress. They
that
flipped
she's
Terre
seen
Haute.
democracies flicker out in other parts of the world. And then she gave Americans a list
Yeah,
of things
yeah.
they can do to try to hold on to our democracy. Talking
need to get
about
Brandon Sackler.
contacting their member of Congress, joining
know him, put
groups
me in
that are
touch.
working to try to hold on to our democracy. She said pointedly, if there isn't a group that
Who's
you feel like
left?
is in
Not
your
Brandon
area
Sackler.
or among people who you know is doing work that you think ought to be done, you need to found that group. You need to start
That's
that
okay, though.
yourself.
As I said
Pointed,
before, he's running a
organized
good
message
government.
from a member of Congress.
He's
who
won.
thought of as a real radical.
People like
I
him.
wonder if that
He's got the narrative
if I
there
get
in
your
Terre Haute. You got to
reaction
support
to
him.
that, and if you had anything to add
Damn
in
right.
terms of what
Damn
you
right.
think people within the sound of your voice ought to be doing right now, given the dire prospects that you see for the country.
I had a town hall about a week and a half ago when we put out the link. Within 4 hours of one email, we had over 600 RSVPs. And at
See,
this
this is the
standing
shit I'm
room
talking about.
town
We're
hall,
better at
the
tech
message
than
was clear
them.
from
We need
everybody.
to, the
Two
fact that
things.
Elon
They
is
wanted
in
to
there
learn
doing
about how
tech stuff.
serious
We're
and
younger
dire the
than them.
situation
We're
is.
better
And
at
two,
tech
they
than them.
wanted to
We
be
need to
put
open
to
up
work.
the tech
And as
floodgates
someone who
on the
comes from
Democratic
organizing
side.
background, March for Our Lives, and other organizations,
Yeah. Data.
it is a
Data,
gold
data,
mine
data.
when the
That's
people contact
currency
you
these days.
and say, what can I do? You know, I come from going to people and knocking on their doors and begging them to volunteer, begging them to get involved. And now the people are saying, put us to work. We want to fight for our democracy, for our country, for Medicare, for Medicaid, for programs that help and that working people have earned. And so I think it is important to make sure people know that the United States, our democracy can break. We can lose it if we don't defend it. And fascism and authoritarians, they gain power when there is no opposition. That's part of the reason I've told people you have to make the decision. Are we the minority or are we the opposition? Because I do believe an authoritarian can take hold when it's just the minority. But when there's a strong opposition, we can fight it back. And we
We
can
got some bad news for Maxwell Frost. You know what it is?
with giving people something to do. But first off, you got to explain to people.
I don't want to
how
hear it.
serious the
Let's say it.
Our boy is going to be on the chopping block.
Maxwell
He's in
Frost,
fucking
one
Florida.
of a number of Democrats who did not make it through the speech tonight, left in the middle of the president's remarks. Congressman, I really appreciate you joining us tonight and being with us. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. Should mention, I gave you a list a little bit earlier on about
All right. Thanks, Rachel. So, yeah. Like Maxwell Frost, but yeah, Florida, that state's it's hungry with better weather.
It's all those upset Cubans, man.
There are a lot of Cuban expats who are very, very anti-communist and think, well, and if the right says it enough that anything to the left of, I don't know what, hunting the homeless for sport is communism. And if you've been negatively affected by a admittedly bad communist regime in Cuba, you can understand. But yeah, not great down in Florida. DeSantis-stan.
So, Scott, who do you think is going to be the next state party chair? Who do you think is going to win? Not who do you want? Who do
I think? Who do I want to be having this conversation on record? Who do I think is going to be the next party chair, or who do I want to be the next party chair?
Wait, you're in a different position. I'll give you hot takes, though. I don't care. I will absolutely tell you everything I think.
Honestly, I haven't had enough chance to talk to all of them. I did sit on a panel where we had the three women, Karen Talion, Destiny Wells, and Jennifer McCormick on Project Next. But I was mostly like running the back end on that. So, doing the production, making sure stuff was up at the right time and the right person was on screen, yada, yada, yada. So I didn't get to ask but one question. But I like Jennifer a lot. She's been generous with her time. She's always come on the show when I've asked. Getting Destiny Wells is like pulling teeth. But I also understand she's, kind of been hurt by people in the party and is, maybe, cautious around new people. So I understand that too. Karen Talion, very nice, been around the party for a long time. It's not her time anymore, though. Right. So no matter how good she is, and I love Karen Talion, she's been a champion in the state for a long time, but it's time for a younger generation.
Watch what you say, Scott. Watch what you say.
Call me ageist. I'm sorry.
If you're looking for a prediction from me, I'm just saying, watch what you say there, because I just gave you my prediction.
I haven't had a chance to talk to Derek Camp again. I reached out, and then is it also Derek Washington from Gary? Jumped in recently. I don't know. I don't know much about him.
Darren Washington, straight up.
Thank you.
So I know he's from up here by me. And we're trying to figure out, like, I was talking with some anonymous Gary politicos, and we're trying to figure out who his second is going to be. He needs a second to run. We don't think he can get a second.
Oh.
Because he doesn't even have necessarily a first, because the motion from Northwest Indiana is almost certainly going to come from Karen Talion, right?
Yeah.
So,
do you think Karen's going to win? It sounds like you think Karen's going to win. My understanding is that Camp is kind of the establishment's preferred candidate. And I would very much like to see Destiny Wells win this race, because I want the party to go in that direction.
I'm sure we have similar views on on how we feel about the race. My understanding is that it's probably going to come down to Camp versus Talion.
That's about as inspiring as a I don't know. It's not terribly inspiring to me, but maybe I can be wooed. Woo me, Brandon.
Karen Karen was the original progressive, but the thing is, she's like a 90s progressive that just kind of like stayed there. So now she's not really all that progressive anymore, but she is one of the OG progressives of the Indiana legislature. I have a soft spot for Karen. She does good work for the left up here. She's not the strongest leftist, but she doesn't get in the way. And in Lake County, in Northwest Indiana, there's plenty of party people who get in the way of folks like you and I, Scott. And Karen's never been one of those people, which gives her some credit from me. I don't think she's going to get in the way. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of what my understanding of her governance strategy is. I don't know how much is known about it, but.
I guess we wouldn't know. It's been, I mean, she's been out of the Senate for a few years, but she was always, a senator, right? Like, working in with a group of others.
Yeah.
Interesting. Lots to talk about. Brandon, sir, it's getting late.
It's a pleasure. Scott.
Yeah, indeed. I'm glad we got to take this in a different direction here afterwards. Talk about stuff maybe we weren't planning on talking about. That's kind of cool. And you know what? I'm glad we're talking about that, not that mess that we just watched for the last couple hours.
Not a whole lot any of us can do about the shit show that's happening in the 202 right now, but there's always stuff that you can do locally. And in my experience, the impact that you can have, because there's so little people working on local issues and local stuff, state stuff, you can really start to have an impact. If you're constantly caught up in trying to make sure that Trump's next executive order doesn't violate the rights of 400 million Americans, even though there's only 330 million of them, that's a much harder thing to be focused on. So I just encourage people to get involved locally. Your next precinct election is in May of 2026. For anybody listening.
Yes, this is where the left needs to there are plenty of reasons to be disillusioned with the Democratic Party, but it's just a set of bones. It is made up of the people that are in it.
Yep. Just come in there and realign that bad boy. Realign it with the people. It can be done. It can be done.
Absolutely.
Nobody said it would be.
Right.
Thank you for inviting me on, Scott. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for being here. Yeah. I could not have done this alone. I needed a friend to lean on, man.
Just listening to Trump just makes me feel alone. So I was happy that you were here, because I'm not really picking up the America. I don't know. I'm not really the American bandana and pickup truck kind of guy. I don't know if you picked that up from me, but
it's definitely feels like cheering for the bad guy right now. I mean, it was always cheering for the complicated guy, but now it's just we're the bad guy and owning it, and I don't like it.
Not a lot that can be done at the moment. Well, Hakeem, I'm going to Hakeem Jeffries you. We need to rely on God. We need to rely on we need to have faith, and this too shall pass, Scott.
It shall not pass by itself. We're going to have to squeeze this turd out. All right. Thanks, Brandon. Brandon Nothinger, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate him. That's so great. Thank you all for joining me, for joining us, for suffering through that mess together. It's been a much longer night than I think any of us have counted on. So those of you who have stayed through this whole thing, I appreciate you so very much. New episode coming next week for sure. If not, I sneak one in before then. However, that's it for this one. Until next time, I'm Scott Aaron Rogers. Love each other, Indiana.